governors make you a minority. Another election, another bust. Go vote for that liar, it's a must. We were given the greatest gift of all, decided to give it up and watch the fall. Yeah, it's just a clown world. We're living in a clown world. Join us in the clown world. It's easy to see that the joke's on you and the joke's on me.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your home for political play-by-play, the Owen Report, live on this Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Wow. I have to tell you, I'm absolutely floored by today's developments. Not that I'm shocked, but I'm floored in how right we've been. I'm floored at how obvious all of these developments have been to get us here today. And, you know, pushing upstream on this issue, climbing the mountaintop on this issue when it comes to foreign policy, when it comes to foreign influence, when it comes to the Middle East. It's obviously been a bumpy ride. It's not that we're not used to that. It's been a very vicious ride, I would say. The attacks incoming have been very vicious. Many people have even described the way that the neocon warmongering right comes after you is just as bad or worse as what we saw from the progressive left in the last 8 years. But now what we're witnessing is the ultimate hypocrisy, the ultimate irony, and the ultimate admission that everything we've been saying about this relationship between the United States and Israel is true. So I have to tell you guys, I got to tell you, we're going to see where the show ends up. I know where we're going. I know where it's starting. I'm not sure where it's going to end up. We do have a couple guests coming on today. We are gonna. I told DMT he's got to come on today because he's been all over the deal, the negotiating, the MOU, all the stuff. He's going to come in and actually break down the details. I'm not as concerned about the details, honestly. I'm not. We're going to give you the details, but that's not really where my focus is. I'm kind of indifferent to the details. I'm all about the result, and I'm all about where are we going right now in American politics and in the discourse? Where are we seeing logical consistency? Where are we seeing pure propaganda? And this is the biggest split we've ever seen now on the right wing when it comes to this issue. So I'm going to show you all of that. But, you know, here's how I feel today. I just got to tell you, and part of me just wants to open up phone lines too, but we got a guest coming on about the deal. So DMT will be joining us. They are dealing with tornadoes in St. Louis. So let's hope that he doesn't lose power or have a tornado land on his head. He'll be up in the sky with the floating homes and the witches and everything else. And then we're going to have a guest on the economy coming up in the third hour. But I'm just let me just tell you how I feel today. And it's just, the whole thing has been so crazy today. Let me try to explain to you what it's like for my mind today in this geopolitical conversation, in this tug of war of where the right wing is going in American politics. Are they going deeper into the Israeli lobby influence, or are we finally removing ourselves from the control of the Israeli lobby? And I'm watching everything that's happening today, and it's like, it feels like the movie Interstellar, when he's like trapped in the time vortex, like the time space vortex, and it's like all the trapezoids and all of the lines. It's like, that's what I feel like today is like. But you're like flying through it. We're like flying through this. You know, eventually all of these trapezoids are going to like collapse. But right now you're just flying through it. You can't grab anything, really. There's nothing to really hold on to. You're just like flying through this right now, waiting for it to collapse. But it's so incredible. It's like so, like you can't stop looking. You're so in awe of it. You can't stop looking. And it just doesn't stop. It's just, it keeps coming. One trapezoid after the other. This vortex, this never-ending tunnel we're tumbling down with nothing to grab onto. That's what it feels like right now in this moment. And I'll show you why. I'll show you all the evidence. I got all the receipts again today. But I mean, how can this even be real? That everything we've been saying and everything that we've been attacked for saying, they're now admitting. It's all coming out. They don't even, this is, again, the psychology here is unbelievable. The lack of self-awareness is unlike anything I've ever seen. They're out. It's like they don't even, I don't even know how to explain it. It's beyond lack of self-awareness at this point. I guess they just assume that you have no memory. I guess they just assume that you have forgotten all the things that you've said and all the things that they've said, and now they can just come out and say something completely different and you won't remember. Oh, yeah, they're demanding Marian Adelson pull her money from Republican Party politics. They're threatening to vote Democrat. They're saying Israel must break with the United States. I'm like, what? Where? Oh, I mean, it's just like, just flying through this tunnel right now. Like, whoa. I've got all of that and more. And you got J.D. Vance bashing Mark Levin. You've got Bannon calling out Cotton for being controlled by the Israeli lobby. I mean, I'm telling folks, I'm like trapped in this time vortex. I know it's going to stop. Eventually, this thing is going to collapse on top of me. But right now, I'm just flying through it. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And we got the Trump clips. And we got the Trump clips from some of his last statements at the G7. And then I guess right before he's about to board, I guess he's going to get on Air Force One and come back already. So we made some comments to the press. And then we'll get into the actual details of the deal with DMT. But we're gonna get into the content here in a moment. But guys, and this is why I kind of want to open up the phones too, actually, on this. I kind of want to open up the phones on this. Maybe we'll do that in the third hour. Maybe we'll try to get to it in the second hour if we have time. But are you guys seeing this? I know it's mostly, if you're not paying attention to the play-by-play, if you're not watching the game like I am, then maybe people are missing it. I'm just living it. I'm just on social media all the time, on the internet all the time, following this all the time. Are you guys seeing this? I mean, is this not like totally insane what we're witnessing today? The whole thing is crashing out. And now they're saying Trump has betrayed them. And now they're saying Trump has done a 180 on the campaign promises. I'm like, what is going on? Then there's Bongino. I mean, folks, this is crazy. And then, I'm sorry, I can't help but wonder if it's connected. How can you blame me? I can't help but wonder if it's all connected. You get the Muslim gang rape report out of the UK. Oh, what magic timing. So you get this huge report out of the UK about these Pakistani Muslim grooming rape gangs. They claim 250,000 women were raped. 250,000. The whole thing is like, how is that even possible? But so, this is coming out today. Right. The timing couldn't be more convenient. And so this is coming out today. And guys, the pressure behind the scenes to make sure everyone covers this is insane. I've never seen anything like it. And it's so obvious what's going on. I wouldn't even have thought twice about it. And then I've got people saying, oh, you love covering Epstein. Why aren't you covering this? I'm like, where the hell have you been? This story is 10 years old. What are you talking about? I've been covering this for 10 years. Maybe you missed it because I was banned from the internet. I don't know. This story is old. They just released this report about all of the details now. I mean, have you heard of Tommy Robinson? Like, where do you think? No, the double standard. No. The double standard is not over here, guys. The double standard with the Epstein Muslim rape gangs, that's not over here. You're missing it again. That's you. That's you guys. But I don't know. Maybe if the Muslims had private jets and private islands, maybe then you wouldn't have a big problem with it. But I don't know. But no, you're not going to sit here. You're not going to sit here and high horse us when we've been covering this thing for decades. You're not going to sit here and use this to distract from what's really going on when it comes to foreign influence and foreign policy. And by the way, in case I need to remind you, this ain't Europe. You're not in the UK. Man, sorry that we have to remind people in the political commentary world every day. This is America. All right? This ain't the Middle East. This ain't Europe. This is the US of A. Leave me alone with your foreign garbage, please. Please. Just for a day, if you could. For a day. Maybe Trump's ready. Maybe Trump's ready, guys. Oh, we got some backlash for talking about would we welcome Trump back with open arms? We got some backlash from that. Maybe I'll address that today too. Maybe we'll address all of this today. We'll see. I don't know. Like I said, I know where we're going right now. I know we got guests coming up, but I don't know where the show is going to end up today. I'm tumbling through this tunnel. I'm tumbling through this time-space vortex. It's nonstop. The trapezoids are collapsing all on me. It's nonstop. So we're going to be focusing on that. And then we'll see what happens. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Patriot Protect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is the year 2026, okay? And if you have not been a victim of cybercrime yet, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself lucky, but don't take the risk. Don't wait another day to become a victim. Do something about it right now by going to patriot-protect.com/Owen and getting the privacy that you need to keep your personal information, private information off the internet to be bought and sold by crooks and criminals. You might be saying, there's no way this can happen. It can't be. Trust me, it can. It's happened to me. In fact, if you try to yourself right now, you'd probably be shocked at how much of your personal information is out there right now for sale from some sites. You can buy it. We're talking addresses, emails, phone numbers, even information of your family, your extended family. This is all being bought and sold right now without your knowledge. Put an end to it. Go to patriot-protect.com/Owen. Here's how they put an end to it. All the private information that you don't want out there, that you don't want to get bought and sold online, all of that, they get rid of it. Address, phone number, email, all the stuff you don't want people to have access to, they wipe it off the internet. The work doesn't stop there. They continue to monitor the internet to make sure that none of this information pops up again. And if it does, they remove it. That's Patriot Protect. Everybody is going to need this service. Everybody is going to need this tech. Get it now at patriot-protect.com/Owen. And for my listening audience, use promo code Owen for 15% off any plan. You heard that right, at patriot-protect.com/Owen. Promo code Owen for 15% off any plan.
My system 1.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Play the game, kid.
All right, guys. I've got the clips of Trump talking about the deal. I've got all the different responses to the deal. We're going to have DMT come on here and break down the actual details. But I have to tell you, I'm in a very weird state of mind coming on air today. And it's really not a good state of mind to be in if you're trying to come on air and do a 3-hour news show. I'll just tell you. Now, I'm in a good mood, by the way. I'm in a good mood. Great day. Beautiful day in Austin, Texas. Got outside a little bit earlier. And watching neocons, watching warmongers panic and freak out is one of the more satisfying things that we can get out of the political world today. It's one of the more satisfying phenomenons that we can ask for, and we're getting it. I mean, we are getting it more so than maybe we've ever seen in our lives, which is really quite telling. But it's hard for me to just click into this gear and just go into like robot auto mode and just read the news today. Because I'm sitting here observing all of this. And sometimes you almost feel like you just have to pause and appreciate it. You know? It feels like sometimes in life, you're just in a moment. It's like a sunset. It's just, you're just in a moment and you just recognize, you're like, yeah, hey, let's just take a second here and just soak this in. Let's just hold on, guys. Look at this beautiful sunset. Let's take a minute, guys. Let's observe this. Let's all enjoy this view right here. This is really fantastic, isn't it? Isn't that nice? Yeah. So I'm kind of having this moment today where it's just like, I'm just enjoying watching this crash out. I'm taking a pause to watch this. And I really don't even care. I don't even care about the details of the deal. I don't even care. Good for this, good for that. Who wins, who loses. It's like, I'm not even interested. I'm watching the people who co-opted our movement. I'm watching the warmongers that have sold our country out. I'm watching all the worst people involved in American politics, specifically on the right. I'm watching all of them whine and complain, and they're having such a bad day. Why? Because we won't bomb people in the Middle East? Because Israel can't control our foreign policy? Yeah, thank you. You guys are admitting who you are. We knew this all along. We have been trying to convince people that this is who you are, and that's who you represent. And now you are giving it, this is your final act. This is your final argument. And instead of coming to the table to make the case for the American people that, hey, you're not warmongers, you're not neocons, you're not Israeli loyalists. Instead of taking this moment to use your platform to make your final argument that you are not these things, instead, you're stepping up to your podium today and you're making our case for us in the most important time of all. You can't make it up. And now all of the claims that you made against people like me and Tucker Carlson and everybody else, you're now stepping up and now you are publicly owning all of it. You are publicly declaring all of this for the American people today. I have never seen anything like this. Never. And the hypocrisy of it all, the irony of it all, it's like a piece of political art. It's like a political Picasso being painted right now. So yeah, I'm just kind of sitting back. I mean, do I let my ego grab the mic for a second here? Should I allow my ego to take a second and gloat about how right I was about these people? To a stunning degree, to an absolutely stunning degree. So let me just shut up then. Let me just shut up. Let's go to these Trump clips, hear what he's saying about the deal. We'll get into some of the responses. We'll get into the details. But I'm just overwhelmed by it. I got to tell you, it's like the G-force on this thing is crazy right now. Absolutely crazy. So it's not a normal news day. It's not a normal news day at all. I don't know how much news we're even going to get to today, because I think it's time, today, as I explained, today is just a moment to just watch. Today, you just watch. You just watch it unfold. And sometimes when you're doing broadcasting, when you're doing play-by-play, sometimes you just let it happen. Sometimes you don't talk. Sometimes the greatest play-by-play broadcasters, sometimes their greatest moments on air are when they're not talking and they're just letting it happen in front of you. Feels a bit like that today. Feels a bit like that today. And I guess we're all, well, I guess we will ignore, this will be our one mention of it at least. But I guess for the most part, I'd like to put it out of mind, the potential threat now because of this. What will the warmongers do in response to this? And we'll just leave it at that for now. But here are some of the clips. And Trump talking about how we ended up reaching this deal. And he's flanked by Rubio and Lutnick, crazily enough.
We've been pretty tough on that. It is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense, please.
It's just nice to hear Trump say that, because this is what we've been saying forever. It's like, how are you going to sit there and tell Iran that they're not allowed to have the same access that you have? And then how do you expect President Trump to enter these negotiations with the hopes of achieving a peace deal when the entire posture here is that, no, Iran, you have to be a second-rate nation. You do not get the same privileges and the rights as every other nation. And so that's what Trump is explaining, and that's the position that he was put in by the Israeli lobby. Again, guys, I got a lot of trouble. I got a lot of trouble Monday. I got a lot of trouble Tuesday, because I told you that my hope meter was, starting to bounce a little bit. It was like, flatline. Started to bounce a little bit Monday. Tuesday was starting to hold steady a little bit, like 2-3 degrees. I'm not getting too excited, but even that, people are like, oh, how dare you? You're shilling again, all this stuff. I'm like, hey, I'm just doing political play-by-play, guys. I'm just telling you this is political play-by-play. And even if the team is down by 5 touchdowns, if the running back just did a 90-yard play to the goal line, then that's a 90-yard play to the goal line. I'm calling that play no matter what the score is. But even DMT today, his little meter's bumping, I think. Nobody would have thought that. Not even him, but he may get into that with the deal. I'm telling you, when I hear Trump talk, it looks like they really got something done, guys. And this is at risk. I've never been one to sit here and tell you anything is manifesting from these deals. I've never been one to sit here and say anything meaningful is going to come of this. I think this might be the one. Yeah, right. Don't jinx it. I know. But it's like when Trump is being honest like this, this is the most honest we've heard Trump on the issues in his second administration. This is the most honest he's been, except for maybe when he told you that Adelson cares more about Israel or some of the other things he said about that. But this moment, it's like, as far as the negotiations, he's finally being honest. He's like, hey, I'm in a position here where I'm being told I have to tell Iran that they don't get access to water while everyone else gets water. And it's like, sorry, it just doesn't work. So he's leveling with us finally. So again, the hope meter, it's, I don't know. Here's some more.
So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues, such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about, and support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. You got to have some. Somebody said you shouldn't give them one. And I have guys. I like some of these guys, but I don't think they're smart. Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. Doesn't work that way, you know. It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. They hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet.
By the way, do we want to show Lutnick kind of grimacing in the background here with that one?
Missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. Doesn't work that way, you know. It doesn't work that way.
Lutnick looking like the Hamburglar. Wow. So again, this is Trump leveling with us. This is the most honest I've heard Trump about these negotiations. And he's right. This is common sense. This is beyond policy. This is about who is acting in good faith. Trump, I feel Trump is leveling. I feel he's leveling with us today. This is the most honest I think he's ever been about these deals today. Who knows what the outcome is going to be? I have no idea, guys. I don't know. I'm not telling you I know what the outcome is, but I can see the response. And you certainly can put a lot of weight into the response as far as what is the potential outcome of this. I think the weight of the response is a pretty good indicator. Not perfect, but pretty good. Has me feeling good. But see, this is where you get to the logical inconsistencies, especially when it comes to right-wing Americans and the Second Amendment. Now, there's no international Second Amendment, obviously. There's no international right to defend yourself, although you hear some, it seems that there is at least one country that claims to have that right, maybe no others, but there's one. But there's no international document that guarantees any sovereign nation state that. And so this is where you get into the spirit of the Second Amendment. Do you really believe in the right to self-defense? Do you really believe in that? And when it comes to right-wing Republicans, they do not spiritually believe in that. Now, they might believe in that as far as the American people, but they don't believe that expands beyond the borders, meaning Iran does not have a right to defend itself. And therefore, we should make sure that they do not have essentially an international Second Amendment right. Now, you can argue that's good. You can argue that's bad. I can certainly understand both cases. But to me, it's about logical consistency. If you truly believe as a human being that it is a fundamental right to defend yourself, then you should believe that right expands beyond the borders of the United States. Now, they don't have the legal protections like we do of a Bill of Rights. But yet, if you actually believe that, then that logic should expand across our borders. But for these people, it doesn't work for Iran. It only works for one country in the Middle East. Well, this is what Trump is saying. Just like he's talking about with nuclear. He's saying, and by the way, it's all the Israeli lobbyists that he's talking about here. And you can look at what they're saying today and what he said, and it's very clear. But he's telling you, he's like, look, I'm in these negotiations. How do you expect me to tell Iran that it's the only country in the Middle East that's not allowed to have a missile? How do you expect me to do that and get a deal? And this is what we kind of talked about yesterday. And really, it looks like the answer to that is, well, we don't really expect that. We expect boots on the ground. That's what they expected. Now, I don't know if this was ever expressed directly, but clearly that's the case. That's what they expected. So I don't know if Trump is asking the question rhetorically or if he's, saying, hey, it's not possible. He's saying, how do you expect me to tell one country they're not allowed to have weapons and everyone else is, and I'm supposed to accomplish a peace deal? How do you expect me to do that? And they're saying, no, we don't expect you to do that. We expect you to do a land invasion of Iran. That's what we expect. Maybe this is news to Trump. And now, and this is what really pisses him off. Now he's talking about what the IDF is doing. Uh-oh. This one really has him mad.
Do it. I mean, you have people living there. Buildings are being dropped on top of them or right alongside of them. How would you like to live there? It's so unfair, especially Beirut. You know, you go into Beirut, and I looked at the scene 2 days ago, yesterday, where they hit. That was a big hit. That was unnecessary in my book. Yeah, please. Do it. I mean, you have people living.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Guys, they're cooked. They are cooked. It was very easy as the new MAGA coalition of neocons and Israeli loyalists was forming and building power. It was very easy for them to attack us when we talked about the bombing, whether it was in Palestine or Lebanon or anywhere. But we'll talk about Lebanon, the most egregious offense right now, or at least during Trump's administration. And I think that's why he talks about that instead of Palestine. But where are they going to go? It's easy for them to attack us when we report on that. It's easy for them to attack, members of the media, people on social media, what have you. It's easy for them to attack you and call you liars, even though the video evidence is all right there. It's really easy for them to do that. But how do they do that to Trump? Oh, boy, now they're cooked. Now they're pinned. Now they're in checkmate, and all they can do is overthrow the board. And that's what they're doing. So what are they going to do now? Call Trump a liar? Are they going to deny that Israel has been bombing civilian targets in Lebanon, despite all the videos we have? The journalists, think what you want about them, but I think one thing remains true. Whatever you think about their politics or how they handle their work, they do not get enough credit. Those journalists that went into Palestine, those journalists that are still in Lebanon, many have died. They're risking their lives to show the world what is happening. And there was one video, this lady, it didn't make the final cut today, but she's sitting there and, Israel's bombing Lebanon again. It's all happening right behind her. And she has this moment at the end of it, and you can just see how exhausted she is. And she was reporting how 4 journalists or 4 people just died in the latest strike. And you can see how exhausted she is. She stops at the end of it, and she basically just like, guys, I can't do this anymore. I can't. All I see is death and destruction. I know we have to bring you this news. I just don't know how much. And she has this moment of just like, I'm tired. This has been going on for 2 years. And we're all kind of getting there. Except some people are never tired of killing, I guess. Some people are never tired of death and destruction. The rest of us are. The rest of us humans are. But where are they going to go? Are they going to call Trump a liar? Are they going to deny that Israel is bombing Lebanon? None of this is working, guys. Everything is falling apart for them now. And if they don't, Trump is like the glue that held them all together. Trump is like the net that kept them all in lockstep, like a human wrecking ball. Without Trump, what do they have? If Trump is agreeing with us, where do they go? If Trump is saying the same things that we're saying, the truth, what are they going to do? They're the ones that built Trump up to be this holier than thou entity. They're the ones that built Trump up to be the arbiter of truth. They're the ones that built Trump up to be this deity that you have to trust and listen to. They are the ones that built this man up. They are the ones that created this creature, not us. And now they have to deal with him. It's beautiful. I'm telling you, this is like poetry in motion. It's unreal. He goes on. Now this, again, folks, I just allow my ego a second here, but I mean, did we not predict all of this to an unreal degree? I mean, did we not call all of this like, so now Trump is going to get into the cost. We knew this was true. We knew we were lied to about the cost. Trump is now starting to be honest about how much this deal cost us.
By the way, those last 2 days were brutal. $200 million worth of bombs. And, you know, it is expensive too, by the way, aside from everything else. By the way, those last 2 days.
Just 200 million in 2 days of bombing. When this thing is said and done, we're definitely over 100 billion. You know, they're trying to say it's under 40 billion. It's around a 40 billion number right now. I'm saying it's at least double. I'm saying it's at least double. And that's just like, you know, cash on the table. We're not even talking about the cost of energy and everything else that goes along with it in the global market and how much you're paying, cost per living, cost per production. Wow. Okay. Now, I've got one more clip from Trump, but I'm going to get to the responses now. Guys, the irony and hypocrisy that we are about to cover, I think, has to be unmatched in human history. I've certainly never seen anything like this. I've never seen such blatant hypocrisy or irony in my life. It's to such a level you can't even believe it's real. That's how insane it is. It's like watching a movie. That's how ridiculous all the hypocrisy and irony is today. We're going to try to break it all down. We're going to try. Huckabee. Mike Huckabee. Iran demands Israel cease defense of border against Hezbollah. So first of all, that's just a lie. Iran is the only country on earth right now that is trying to stop Israel from its death and destruction in Lebanon. So they included in the agreement that Israel would stop bombing Lebanon. This has nothing to do with anything inside of Israel. This has nothing to do with Israel's border. This has everything to do with Israel wanting to bomb Lebanon relentlessly until there's nothing left and they can take the land over. And so all Iran is saying is, yeah, we're going to protect Lebanon's right to defend itself. We're going to protect Lebanon's right as a sovereign country to maintain its borders. And yeah, that's going to be a part of the deal. And see, now you know why the Israeli lobby was so panicked that they were left out of the discussions. Because now Trump gets to talk to the other voices in the Middle East, and they're saying, hey, Mr. President, have you seen what the IDF is doing in Lebanon? Have you seen what they're doing? We can't stand for this. We need to stop this. And then he gets to see that without the filter of Israeli propaganda, without the filter of Israel twisting and turning and manipulating and deceiving. Trump gets that raw. That's why Israel panics when they're not in the discussions, because then Trump might get the truth, because then they can't manipulate and deceive Donald Trump. That's why they're panicked. That's why they were flipping out every time they got cut out of discussions, because if they're not at the table, they can't control the narrative, and then all of their lies get caught. So no, Huckabee misrepresents that. Such a good Christian to lie for war. Gaza peace plan depends on Hamas disarming. Idea: every member of Hezbollah and Hamas deport to mothership in Iran. Result: Lebanon and Israel free from Iran terror proxies. Give peace a chance. So Huckabee, he starts his post by saying Israel needs to be allowed to bomb Lebanon, and then he finishes his post by saying give peace a chance. Again, folks, the irony here is unbelievable. He posted that. He wrote that and he posted that. First statement: Israel needs to bomb Lebanon. Last statement: give peace a chance. Hey, buddy, these two things are kind of conflicting. Lebanon and Israel free from Iran terror proxies. Dude, the only country bombing everyone in the Middle East right now is Israel. You understand? Iran sat there with President Trump and made a huge bet. And maybe it was a good bet, but Iran made a huge bet. And after the last wave of bombing campaigns from Israel, Iran was about to respond. And Trump called and said, don't do it. Don't do it. And now Iran could have easily said, hey, you're not going to tell us what we can and can't do. And they could have bombed Israel. And they didn't. And they made a bet that in this negotiation period, Israel would continue to bomb. And of course, Israel did. And so Trump got to sit there while negotiating with Iran, not to mention talking to the Pakistani diplomats and everybody else in the region that he's talking to. And he got to sit there and watch. Every other country agreed to stop bombing and killing except one. Except one. So now Trump got to witness that to such a degree that there's no denying it. And because he didn't have people lying to him in his ear the whole time, he's able to see it now. An unbelievable development. So here comes more of the hypocrisy. We all watched. And maybe we start it with this. The understanding, and this is not up for debate. This is not up for debate. Let me be perfectly clear. This is not up for debate. The Trump agenda, the Trump mandate, and the Trump campaign was to stop wars in the Middle East, and specifically no new wars. It was so direct at times, especially in 2016, it was so direct at times that Trump was even calling our Middle East foreign policy a disaster and calling out Marian Adelson's influence and money directly. All of that happened. So I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this bull crap. Oh, Trump said he would bomb Iran. Trump said he would do regime change. He promised all this stuff in Iran. Shut up. Shut up. Nobody believed that was a campaign promise. Nobody went and voted for Donald Trump, except maybe, I guess, people that were in the know, like a Mark Levin, like a Ben Shapiro. We all know why they supported Trump now. It had nothing to do with America. No, Americans went and voted for Donald Trump to stop the wars in the Middle East. Americans went and voted for Donald Trump because we were sick of the death and destruction in the Middle East. That was the understanding. And anyone that tells you otherwise is a dirty, rotten liar. So this is not up for debate. So when Trump starts this war against his campaign promises, we had a problem. We had a legitimate beef. We had a legitimate complaint about the administration and foreign policy going the opposite of what he promised on the campaign. And what did we see? Oh, no, that is what he promised. That was the campaign. Now it's the opposite. Now it's the opposite. So now Trump gets a peace deal done, which was the campaign. Now Trump wants to stop the wars in the Middle East, which was the campaign. And now all the Israeli loyalists are crying because they thought they were promised this war. They thought that's what the campaign was about. And when we pointed out, no, this was about no new wars, they said, oh, you're wrong. Now look at them. Bonchi from Red State. The reversal of his talking points from 3 months ago to today is astonishing. Whether you agree with it or not, it's just astonishing. Welcome to our world. Yeah, we've been pretty astonished on the reversal of policies and the reversal of talking points. We've been pretty astonished while you sat there quietly, while you sat there silently and celebrated these reversals. Now you're getting a little taste, aren't you? Except now Trump is back, it looks like, back on track for what he ran on. And now you're complaining. Beautiful. Keep it up. Keep it up. Where have I heard this one before? This is happening in Israel. Trump has completely destroyed his legacy with this Iran deal. Amazing. Amazing. So it's just like we said. They only support Trump. They only support America as long as that support means that America and Trump will do everything for Israel. And as soon as we don't put Israel first, now they want nothing to do with you. You've destroyed yourself. You've destroyed your legacy. Why are all these guys so freaked out? If Israel can handle their own business in the Middle East, if America is holding Israel back from handling their business in the Middle East, why are you guys so panicked today? Why are you guys freaking out so much today if you can do it all without America? That's weird. That doesn't make sense. Oh, so when Trump went against his campaign promises and we talked about his legacy, you attacked us. But now Trump gets back onto the campaign promises and you're saying that destroys his legacy. Amazing. No, you've all revealed yourselves. You have all revealed yourselves. Would you be surprised that Ben Shapiro is upset, guys? Would this shock you? That Ben Shapiro is upset? I know. It's stunning that Shapiro would turn on Trump like this. Unbelievable. The disloyalty of Ben Shapiro. He says he cannot express. He cannot express. His stomach is turning. He's so unhappy with Trump's deal. He says, how in the world could you tie Israel's hands when it comes to self-defense? Oh, yes. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Even though that's what you guys have been doing to America. You guys have had America's hands tied, and we've been forced to invest in foreign interests in the Middle East and at the cost of our own way of life. Now we're trying to free our hands, and you guys are upset. Wow. Wow. And I mean, God forbid there might be peace. I mean, God forbid. That's what really seems to upset these people. They don't like peace. It's like a foreign idea, foreign thought. A world without war. They're not interested. I know, guys. Even Mark Levin. I can't believe it. I can't believe Mark Levin is upset. Appalling, he says about the deal. Appalling. They fought besides us. No, they didn't. We fought. Most of the time, they weren't beside us, and we were fighting their enemies in their part of the world. Now we celebrate talks with the enemy, and the enemy knows more than our ally. This is shocking. Oh, man, guys. Oh, man. Oh, man. And then J.D. Vance fired back at Mark Levin today. I'm not going to play these clips for the sake of time. But, I thought the Vance show on Megyn Kelly was good. Vance got a lot of attacks because Megyn has been critical of Trump, but Vance went and did it. He answered the tough questions. He's getting a lot of heat from the foreign loyalists today. He went back at Mark Levin. And, just to address this real quick, because I hear the people thinking that this is all fake, it's all theater, and you know what? That's fine. That is a perfectly reasonable response or a perfectly reasonable mindset observing all of this. So I'm not pushing back if that's what you believe. But I don't believe that. And the reason is this panic is real. I mean, the panic from the Shapiros, from the Levins, from all the Israelis, this is legit. I mean, they are truly panicked. They feel they're losing control. They fear justice is coming. And the U.S. is not going to be standing in the way to stop them from feeling it. This is legitimate fear. And it shows how their instincts are so perverted that they don't even understand, hey, Trump is your last shot. Trump is literally your last shot. And look at how quickly you guys are throwing him under the bus. Look at how quickly you guys are turning on him. Your instincts are so perverted and disturbed. But it's ultimately going to be you that pays the price. But it's okay for Ben and Levin. They're not going to be going to Israel anytime soon, ironically enough. They're not going to be going over there. Josh Hammer. Has Donald Trump had his Barack Obama moment on Iran? Hey, how many times did Israel get bombed after Barack Obama signed that deal? Oh, that's right, 0 times. Did you guys not like that? Did you guys not like not getting bombed? That's a weird thing, to attack Barack Obama for stopping the bombs. Think whatever you want about his policies. Think whatever you want about his presidency, his domestic policies. But it's just a weird thing to complain about a man who stopped your country from being bombed. A man who cut a deal with Iran that stopped your country from being bombed, and you're complaining? Did you want to get bombed? Oh, that's right. Josh Hammer lives in America too. That's ironic. Those selling this deal are telling anyone who asked reasonable questions to just shut up and applaud anyway. No, that's what you said to us. That is literally everything they have been saying to us about the Middle East and foreign policy since Trump got into office. Unbelievable. That you guys are the ones that tried to sell us another war. You guys are the ones that tried to sell us a bunch of more BS propaganda on the Middle East foreign policy. And you guys are the ones that told us to shut up. You guys are the ones that told us to trust Trump. But now that it's not going your way, all of a sudden, oh, no, we can't accept that type of a mindset. We can't shut up. We have to be loud. We have to talk about this. Well, isn't that funny? If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. And all the propaganda agents are out in force today. And I love it. I love it. I love watching liars and phonies and frauds and propaganda agents out themselves in the media. I get, oh, it's so good. I live for this. I love this. This is the greatest thing ever. And we're not even halfway through. We're not even halfway through. Oh, and I love this too, Dana Loesch. What a phony she ended up being. What an absolute phony Dana Loesch ended up being. I'll get to this irony of her throttled account. She claims she has a throttled account. No, you're just not popular. So she's attacking J.D. Vance today. And she says, who cares about their sensitivities? Excuse me. Again, the irony, the hypocrisy. You guys are concerned about every gentle sensitivity that an American Jew might have. You guys are all up in arms and you got your undies in a knot over an Israeli sensitivity. You guys are all about, this is your big woke right. You know, Israel is Black Lives Matter for conservatives. Fighting anti-Semitism is fighting racism for conservatives. It's the same crap. It's the same propaganda. You guys are the ones that talk about the poor sensitivities and anti-Semitism. Oh, boy, but oh no, we don't want to hear about sensitivities now. Yes. They're all outing themselves. They're all the phonies, all the frauds, all the propaganda agents. They're all outing themselves today. I'm on cloud nine, guys. I am on cloud nine. Oh, I thought Marian Adelson, she doesn't influence U.S. foreign policy. Marian Adelson doesn't buy elections to favor Israel. Oh, no. Oh, look at what the Israelis are saying today. I hope Marian Adelson is paying attention and doesn't give one penny to J.D. Vance. Oh, you mean Adelson uses her husband's money to influence U.S. politics to favor Israel? Oh, you mean like exactly everything we've been saying? Oh, and now you're admitting it. You guys are all such liars. So you knew it the whole time. You knew we were right the entire time. You knew we were right about Israel. You knew we were right about Adelson. You knew we were right about the Middle East. You knew we were right about everything. And you sat there and you lied. And now you're all admitting the truth. And now you're all showing your true colors today. Oh, man. Oh, it doesn't get much better than this, guys. I got to tell you. It doesn't get much better than this. Z.E. Silver. He says he's the Jew hater's worst nightmare. Ooh. Are you guys having nightmares? He says, I think Israel should cut off America completely. What's that you guys were saying about the horseshoe theory? Wasn't there something about the horseshoe theory that you guys were doing here for a while, right? The horseshoe theory. That's funny because we've been saying that for 2 years now, and you guys did nothing but kick and scream and bitch and moan. And now you're saying the same thing? Oh, guys, how can this be? How can we have it so good? How can we have it so good? to start off the summer of 2026. Pinch me. Pinch me. I'm dreaming. Yuri Israel. I'm assuming this is a dual citizen since he's got the Israeli flag all over his bio and everything else. And he's in an IDF uniform too. So I'm assuming he's an Israeli citizen. He says, I voted for Donald Trump. And as an American, I urge him to please immediately cut off all U.S. aid to Israel. Guys, look, this is what I've been saying about the whole Q thing, guys. I'm a man of odds. That's what I do. I measure odds. I compile data, I plug it into a formula, and I measure odds. And I said, and I'm not even selling you this belief. I'm just saying the odds shifted a couple months ago, and the odds that QAnon being real became higher odds than Trump being this big of a betrayer. Like, it was so unreal. Now, again, I'm not telling you that that's real or anything. What I am saying is that how could anybody predict when we were all sitting here calling for the United States to cut off aid to Israel and all of the backlash, all of the heat that we were receiving for saying this, all the accusations, anti-Semitism, all of this stuff, for simply saying, hey, we don't want to be involved funding Israel anymore. And we saw all of the attacks. Who could have predicted that the very people that represent the country that benefits from this foreign aid package, the very people that were attacking you for asking Trump to cut off the United States aid to Israel, the very people that have been fighting for those foreign interests are now saying they want to cut off aid to Israel. What? I mean, guys, how is this even happening? The very people begging to keep Israel and the United States, they write it into bills. They literally try to pass it in legislation. The very people that promote that stuff today are now calling for an end of U.S. aid to Israel. We're here. We are actually here. This is actually happening. And then they're saying, he says, without the U.S. aid, Israel would be forced to fight one final decisive and truly existential war, a real war, and win it decisively. Boy, you guys just love fighting. You guys just love war and death and destruction. So have at it. Let's just see. And by the way, if they actually believed that, then they wouldn't be complaining. If they actually believed that Israel was better off without the United States, they wouldn't be panicking today. If they really believed that Israel was better off without U.S. aid, then they wouldn't be freaking out and spazzing out and calling Trump names and calling Vance names and everything else. None of this would be happening. They would be celebrating this. No, they know the truth, and eventually they'll get there. Let's just say this all goes down, and let's say the United States does cut all aid for Israel, and then Israel collapses. And then they're going to blame us, and they're going to say, you did this, you cut off the aid. And so remember this moment. No. No. You guys wanted the aid cut off. You guys asked for the aid to be cut off. You guys said you would be better off without the aid. You guys started a bunch of wars in the Middle East that you couldn't fight without us. You did all of that, and now you wanted us to cut off the aid. We're cutting off the aid. Don't blame us when Israel collapses. Don't blame us. Do not blame us. And you guys are so, whatever this psychology that you guys have here, this lack of self-awareness, this entitlement, this arrogance, you're so arrogant. You're so blinded by your own arrogance that you don't even realize Trump is your last shot. Trump is your last shot, and you're going to stab him in the back the moment he doesn't give you every last thing you want, like a petulant, spoiled brat. So don't come to us. If this all goes down and we get a deal with Iran and we cut off aid to Israel because you guys are so upset, and this whole thing goes down and Israel collapses, don't blame us, because that's already what you're going to do. You're going to do the same thing you just did. You're going to flip-flop just like you did right now. Trump's the greatest ever. Oh, now Trump's the worst ever. Yeah. No, you guys are demanding the aid that be cut off. So when you have to pay the price for that, don't complain at us. I don't want to hear it. And remember, they would complain when we talked about voting Democrat. I never said I would vote Democrat, but I covered that phenomenon. And they complained. How dare you vote Democrat? How dare you use your vote because you don't like the foreign policy? How dare you vote Democrat because you don't like the influence of the Israeli lobby? We saw it. Oh, wait a second. They're now threatening to vote Democrat. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I'm getting into the I will even vote for most Democrats point of absolute disgust with this POS. So now, because Trump won't work for Israel's interest 24/7, now the Israeli loyalists are threatening to vote Democrat in the midterms. Unreal. Unreal. Now Laura Loomer, for the 100th time, is threatening a radical Islamic terror attack on the United States of America. That has people concerned. I think we're all a little bit concerned about that. But no, what I find ironic about Laura Loomer today, she says, there is a violent future coming to our country, and the radicalization driving it is being excused on the left and the right, with people like Thomas Massie and Tucker Carlson egging it on. Remember when the left wing tried to do this to us, guys? Do you understand? Everything these people are doing is the definition of woke. Everything these people are doing is exactly what the woke left did. Remember, they came out with AOC and Brian Stelter and the rest of them, and they said, Trump supporters are going to cause violence. Trump supporters are going to cause terrorism. And they went in front of Congress and they called it, I believe they called it stochastic, was it? Stochastic terrorism? Basically, because you talk about some news story, if somebody goes out and commits a violent act, that's your fault. So first it was the woke left accusing you of stochastic terrorism. Now it's the woke right accusing you of stochastic terrorism. It was the woke left calling you a racist. Now it's the woke right calling you a racist. These right-wingers are more woke than the left now. And they're blaming Trump. Trump put a target on every Jew's back, said Israel blows up buildings with civilians. I'm sick. Well, hold on a second. And this is a Israeli American here. So probably dual citizen. What do you know? So wait a second. Does Israel not blow up buildings with civilians? Because that's very well documented. Multiple times. Okay, so he's not lying. So that's just the truth. So they're mad at Trump for telling the truth. They're mad at Trump for being honest. So that's very telling. They like Trump when he lies. They hate him when he tells the truth. Okay. But what does the IDF bombing buildings have to do with Jews? So you see, this is what they do. They use Jews as a political human shield. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick and tired of this. They love anti-Semitism. They love the IDF committing all these evil acts and then somehow saying that's Jews so that they can accuse you of being anti-Semitic when you're just being critical of a military action or a government or a foreign country. They're the ones that tie these actions to every Jews, not us. You guys do that. You are the ones putting the target on Jews' back, not us. I'm sick of this crap. Don't get mad at us because the IDF is bombing a bunch of buildings and the entire planet is sick of it. Don't get mad at us because people like Mike Huckabee and Mark Levin want to pretend like everything Israel does represents every Jew on planet Earth. That is a disgusting, despicable lie. Don't you put that on us. You're putting the target on Jews' back. And I think you like it, by the way. I think you like it because you think it gives you leverage. And there's some weird psychology where you guys like being the victim. You like getting bombed. You're obsessed with anti-Semitism. Don't put that on us. Don't put that on us. And now they're suggesting they flee. American Jews that have the means should be buying property in Israel as an insurance policy. Wow. You mean they're not loyal to America? You mean they're not Americans? They're not America first? And of course, the irony is they're not going to Israel. They're not going to move to Israel. They're all going to live happily and comfortably in the United States. Trump says, if it weren't for the United States of America, Israel would not exist right now. He's probably right. And they respond. He says, David Limbaugh, what in the hell is going on? You mean Trump is telling the truth? That's what's going on. Trump is telling the truth. And I guess that shocks you because you guys like when he lies. Very weird stuff. All right. I've got a little bit more on this. I want to take a short break. I want to give DMT the platform if he's ready to come on here and get into the actual details of the deal. And then we can go back and forth a little bit. So we'll take a short break. We'll come back with the details of this deal with DMT. A little bit more economic guests coming up on the third hour. I'm on cloud nine, guys. This is an unbelievable day. I'm flying through the interstellar space-time vortex, watching all of this happen. The whole thing is collapsing on top of us. I don't know. I think it's real. I get the feeling this is real. I get the feeling there's a real directional shift happening here. Maybe I'm just high in the daily supply of news. That's how I feel. Wonder how you feel. Maybe we'll take calls on it. All that and more coming up on the other side.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's America's home for political play-by-play. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Guys, it's even worse. It's gotten worse since I've been on air for about an hour and a half now. The attacks, the rhetoric, the things that they're saying about Donald Trump, guys, it's like worse than anything even the left, you could say, has said about Donald Trump. I just hope Trump is seeing this. And I think there's at least one person that might get him this, which is Alex Brusewitz. There's a reason I believe that, because he's calling it out today. This is unbelievable. This is such a reveal, guys. I'm stunned, quite frankly. I'm stunned. I don't know if I'm going to bring the rest of that up today. Maybe save it for tomorrow. I think we all get the point. But, I mean, you should see what they're saying about Trump now. I mean, wow. He's a Muslim. He sold America out. Just unbelievable. All right. Joining us now, producer DMT on the show. He's going to break down the actual details of this. But, I got to ask you first, we've been having a bit of a tug of war on the situation. And I think you may have been laughing at my optimism on Monday. I think you were pointing and laughing at my hope meter on Monday. What do you think about it now on a Wednesday?
Well, I think you're not asking about the motivations behind his decision-making. And I don't think it's just that he had a come to Jesus moment and decided, hey, I'm going to have a based foreign policy moving forward. And I'm listening to guys like Owen Schroyer. I think what's happening is he's realizing the realistic conditions of the financial markets. And I think one of the things he said today that is not getting enough coverage is that global strategic oil reserves were going to be completely depleted within 4 weeks. And that was going to cause, an economic fallout that he is unable to stop. No matter what his rhetoric is, no matter what he says, he was going to not be able to manipulate the markets anymore. So I think this is a decision that was basically forced upon him, because we all know that Donald Trump has been exceptionally loyal to Israel, to the point where people think, he's been a slave to Israel, for lack of a better phrase. But I think that even more so than he has constantly shown his loyalty to Israel, he's also shown that his guiding principle and guiding force has always been the billionaires, the stock market, and moneyed interests. And I think those same moneyed interests, many of them probably Jewish as well, since it's Israel versus this stock market in this little, situation I'm describing. I think that ultimately he was told by enough financial advisors and people that have knowledge of economic forecasting that we were going to be in a serious recession, and it was going to destroy, not only his image with this whole thing with Iran, but it was going to make things, even the boomers and the people that seem to be pretty happy with Trump, I think they were going to risk really turning the entire country against him, with the fallout of what could have happened if we didn't reach an agreement.
Well, it's ironic because they're all turning against him now anyway. So you think this was sheerly motivated by financial reasons? The stock market's been consistently up since the peace deal was announced, heading into the weekend. It's mostly up again today. So, I mean, that would make sense. But do you think any of the things that Trump, I guess the things that Trump is saying, you mentioned the one thing about the economy, but that's not all he was saying. He was talking about Israel's actions in Lebanon. He was talking about the unfair standards that the Israeli lobby was trying to impose on the Iranian people, almost coming to their defense at the G7 press conference here at the end of the day. So do you not take as much out of those statements as you do about the statements on oil?
I'll be honest, I just don't really weigh Donald Trump's statements these days, which with as much significance as I would another world leader, simply because he talks out of both sides of his mouth so much. I mean, think about what he was saying 3 months ago in comparison to what he's saying today. Like I said, I think the realities of the economic situation were very apparent, and I think he was kind of left with no choice. It was very obvious at this point that the Strait of Hormuz was going to be controlled. They were going to have issues with that. The global oil supply was going to continue to be restrained. We talk about the shortage of United States munitions. That's a very serious problem, especially when they're potentially gearing up for a conflict with Taiwan. So I think that there's definitely some things. Look, I enjoyed him voicing some of those criticisms. Absolutely. Is there a kernel of truth in him? And does he actually think that in some cases? I do. But I also think that since they decided, hey, we're going to go with this MOU, they of course know they're going to upset all these war hawks, all these pro-Israel people. They know that going in. So they probably decided, I'm sure some aides or some people that are close to Trump probably told him, hey, we're really struggling with a large faction of the MAGA coalition, and perhaps some of this rhetoric or some public resistance or criticism of Bibi and Israel could go a long way as far as beginning to reconstruct your relationship with a lot of this coalition before the midterm starts. And obviously, it's mid-June. We're really starting to gear up for that here in a few months after the summer. So I think that it all is sort of piecing together. Look, we all know that Israel could likely blow this up. We all know that the potential for perhaps a false flag, something like that. We know that people are voicing their concerns about that. We know that a lot of these majorly biased pro-Israel people are even threatening things like, Laura Loomer talking about a potential drone attack from Iranians or terror cells or what have you. So, I don't think we're out of the woods yet whatsoever. I think the motivations are likely more about the economy rather than Trump just being tired of being a slave and being disrespected. But I'll tell you what, man, if someone's going to pay me $100, I'm not really caring too much if they pay me in 10s, 5s, 1s, 20s, whatever. I like the results because, all of these pro-Israel people and many of these conservative commentators will tell you, yes, there's way too many concessions involved in this deal, which we'll go over here in a minute. But what I'll tell you is that a strong Iran is a counterweight to an aggressive Israel, and people are less likely to throw a punch when they know there's another guy in a schoolyard that's really a bully and can beat their ass. So I think that a strong Iran actually helps bring stability to the region. It lessens the chances that Israel is going to continue to, display this uber aggressive behavior, this genocidal activity. And I think ultimately, I think this is actually going to be a good thing in the long term. I think that Iran probably has a lot of benefits that they could bring in the United States if we were to have a diplomatic relationship. And ultimately, yeah, I think these people are mad because it's true. Like all the things we were saying the whole time, how they were loyal to Israel, they were pushing their interests. The only reason they attached themselves to Donald Trump was because he was carrying out the things the Israel lobby wanted him to do. I think now that's not the case. You're going to see all these same people flip in a very drastic way, and you'll see reasonable people like I think you and I are. I'm not going to be glazing Trump by any means because I think Trump still sold out the country to these moneyed interests, whether it's Israel themselves or whether it's, all these transnational corporations and AI and all these other deals he's done. I'm not a huge fan of him, but absolutely situationally, as far as this goes, I think it's good that we're getting out of there. And I think it's good that we're actually having a counterbalance by giving Iran some freedom, and we'll discuss here what exactly is happening with Iran through this MOU.
Yeah, get into the details next. The one thing I'm going to be curious to watch for, because I anticipate we're going to see this in some way, shape, or form in the coming days or weeks. Somebody will make a case that Iran, and I can certainly see the case, that Iran is a more beneficial ally at this time than Israel. I could certainly see that case being made. Now, you have to view that obviously outside of the lens of Muslims bad, Jews good. Because ultimately, that's going to be the pushback here. Muslims bad, Jews good, so you can't do a deal with Iran. I think if you remove that lens from the conversation, I don't know. I think there's going to be a case made that having Iran as a partner for oil, for trade, whatever, to kind of counterbalance China's influence in the region, I could see this case being made. It'll be interesting to see how people respond to that. But maybe that's a future conversation. What about the actual details?
Hey, real quick, I want to add this in real fast. Oftentimes people ask why we consider Israel, or why, some people used to consider Israel to be our greatest ally. Almost 9 times out of 10, you would always hear them say, oh, the intelligence they provide. Well, the intelligence they provide oftentimes was intelligence that was a counter to Iran and to activities of Iranian proxies.
And bad intelligence
peace with Iran, What exactly is the benefit if the only intelligence they're giving us or they're capable of giving us has to do with former adversaries that are now actually friendly with the United States? I could see a beneficial relationship with Iran being actually a better situation for the United States as opposed to Israel. And I'm not saying that we have to have a terrible relationship with Israel. Obviously, we have given them so much as a country. It would be, it's crazy how they just go ahead and throw Trump and throw everyone under the bus as soon as one thing happens after doing everything they wanted for multiple years. But yeah, I think that having a good relationship, a harmonious relationship with Iran, with many of our Gulf partners we already have, I think that's going to create a good situation. And obviously there's been so much hostility, so much bullshit that, has been caused in the Middle East throughout the entire world. And I think that whatever solution is going to lead to that no longer being the case is a great solution. So I'm happy with what we've got going on. We already waste a ton of money.
All right. What are the details of the deal that you can deliver for us today?
So we'll go through. There's 14 points to the MOU, and here at the end, we'll just list all of them. I have them in a quick one-sentence brief, but I'll go over the key things. One of the most important things is that all sanctions are going to be lifted from Iran immediately upon the finalization of this deal. So this deal allows them 60 days to actually come to a final agreement. But here, we'll just go ahead and go through them. Hold on a second. We'll read through them real quick. So the U.S., Iran allies immediately cease all military operations and they respect Lebanese sovereignty. There's a provision within this MOU for territorial integrity of Lebanon, which obviously is really upsetting Israel. That's point one. Number two is the U.S. and Iran mutually respect sovereignty, territorial integrity, non-interference. 3, negotiate and conclude a final comprehensive deal within 60 days, extendable by consent. 4, the U.S. immediately lifts their naval blockade. 5, Iran ensures toll-free passage through the Strait of Hormuz for 40 days and then restores full traffic. And I saw that their FM, Irachi, I believe his name is, already said that Iran is committed to that. The 6 is U.S. and partners are going to create a $300 billion construction and developmental plan. Now, Trump and the Americans are insisting that's going to be a private fund. That's not going to be U.S. tax dollars. They said the same thing about the White House ballroom. They've said the same thing about some other things. We'll have to see about that. Number 7, U.S. terminates all sanctions on an agreed upon schedule in the final deal. So many of the sanctions are going to be immediately removed at the signing of this MOU, which has already happened. But then I believe that all remaining sanctions of all forms will be eliminated upon the final signing of this deal, which is going to open up Iran to economic opportunities that are honestly really going to change the global landscape. Number 3, Iran reaffirms they are not going to develop a nuclear weapon. Their enriched uranium stockpile is going to be downblended under IAEA oversight, which basically means nuclear officials, international nuclear officials are going to come into Iran and they are going to downblend it so that it is able to be used for, to produce electricity, to be able to produce other things that nuclear energy is able to be used for. And this is a huge thing because obviously the 2 major things that Israel wanted to get out of this deal was that we were going to eliminate or ban their ballistic missile program, and that we were going to completely shut down their civilian nuclear program. And this keeps that civilian nuclear program intact, which is a huge deal. The other things are basically, they're related to waivers for Iranian oil exports. They are unfreezing all of the funds that Iran has had frozen since the end of the JCPOA in the Obama administration. So all of these funds, I believe it's something like $20 billion in total, are all being unfrozen. And then at the finalization of this, there will be a final deal endorsed by binding UN Security Council resolution, meaning that anyone that crosses this treaty or that does not adhere to the principles of the treaty will officially be in violation of UN international law. So honestly, it's a royal flush for Iran. I mean, these guys are getting all of their assets unfrozen. They are getting all of their sanctions taken away. They immediately, as of today, have the ability to sell oil without any restrictions or sanctions. They're getting a $300 billion reconstruction plan and fund. They are not losing their ballistic missiles. As a matter of fact, I want to talk about two things Trump said in the conference today. He defended openly both the unfreezing of their assets, them maintaining a ballistic missile program. He said himself, if Saudi Arabia is able to have a ballistic missile program, it's unfair and it's only common sense that Iran is able to do so. And he also said that about the nuclear program. So the Israel loyalists are crying for a reason, because however Trump came to these conclusions, whatever his motivations were, this is one of the most consequential deals in the history of the Middle East. And it has really shifted the power balance. And Iran is now going to be a major player. They have all these natural resources, and now they have the ability to distribute them as they'd like. And I think that Israel is scared because their arch nemesis just got a lot stronger. And that's what many of the pundits like Trey Gowdy on Fox News just said, that after this conflict with Iran, after this conflict, this months-long war with the United States, Iran has emerged stronger.
So I think the question that remains then, how did Trump get into this and end up coming out with a deal that was better for Iran? I mean, obviously we can talk about the death and destruction that's been, that's been brought down upon them. This is an undeniable thing, but you look at the final results. It's like, how did we get to this point? I mean, it's almost unbelievable. How do you wrap your head around the last, let's say, 2 weeks, where it's like we thought we were going one direction here, and now all of a sudden it's the complete opposite direction, and Trump is feeling comfortable with it?
Well, the thing about Donald Trump is he just has that trademark volatility. You never really know exactly what the guy is going to do. And now, not only does he have that volatility, but he has kind of like a grandpa energy where sometimes you just can't tell grandpa what to do. There's only a few people grandpa listens to, and it can be one weird conversation, one-off type of thing, and it can really shift what they have to think. It's just the way it is. I think that, again, some economic realities came to Donald Trump's desk. He realized that, hey, this whole Truth Social game and me, manipulating the markets and trying to keep things afloat, it's simply not going to be able to happen. We're not going to have the actual goods to ship, to keep things flowing, to keep, the semi trucks moving and the items on the shelves. That's eventually where a fuel crisis goes, by the way. And as someone that previously had a 15-year-long career in logistics, I can tell you that freight tender rejection rate, which is the amount that contracted freight carriers are actually accepting their contracted freight to move items, that was at a all-time low for the last 5 years. It was like a 1% tender rejection rate. That's now up to 25%, the highest level since I believe the 2011, after the 2008 housing market crash. So I can just tell you that things were going to get very ugly here. Donald Trump was going to become more unpopular with people that currently actually love him because their economic realities, buying food, going to the gas, getting gas and all that. It's one thing when it's like $5. It's another thing when it's like $12. And that's eventually where things were going to go on an extended timeline. Well,
and everybody probably sees it slowly ticking up with every bill cycle. But yeah, I just noticed I had a couple bills that clearly just got more expensive. Went grocery shopping, that was a little more expensive. I mean, this stuff starts to add up. But I also have to wonder, because the things that you're expressing here, these things were expressed to Trump. There were people that were economic advisors. There were people under Tulsi Gabbard, Joe Kent, others. A lot of this stuff was expressed to Donald Trump before the whole thing began. And so it's not like he didn't have access to this information. So I can't help but wonder if, I don't know how to really approach this, but it's like, was somebody giving Trump bad intel, right? It's like, was somebody giving Trump bad advice and saying, hey, if you do this, this will be the outcome. And it turned out that was just inherently wrong. And because really at the end of the day, they wanted to put him in a position where it was either you're going to do a land invasion of Karg Island or you're going to come out of this a loser. And it looks like that's where we're at. So I'm going to get loose for a second and I'm going to be casual. Let's think of it this way. You ever had something happen when you were a kid? Maybe you had a shithead friend and maybe he wanted to, you talked about garage hopping one time, like stealing beer out of someone's garage. You ever done something with a buddy that you really didn't want to do, was a bad idea,
And you knew it was bad from the beginning. All the information, every warning sign, but it was your homie. Ian, and everybody might hate your friend too. In this instance, it's Benjamin Netanyahu, it's Israel. Everybody hates my friend, but it ends up that you hook them up, you do something that you know is bad, and then after a while, it's like, if it doesn't go well, you're kind of like, yo, dude, we really fucked up on this one. Honestly, I don't want to get in any more trouble. We're already in trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and like run out of this situation. You do you. And I think that's what's happening. I think Donald Trump absolutely knew he was doing a bad decision. He made a bad decision when he decided to strike Iran. He knew it. We were doing it all for Israel, and we even said it. And I think that the situation, the fight, they were in a fist fight. We ran in thinking, okay, we're the steroided out big boy, ready to throw some haymakers for, our like best friend / owner. And it just didn't work out. And I think that, after that UFC fight, he was thinking a lot about the fight game, realized we took a couple big blasts to the cheek. And I think he just said, yo, we're going to lose this fight. And we're going to let you, deal with it now. So we'll see what happens, man. But I think that's, if you're going to go common sense and why did Trump change his mind, I think it's probably something simple like that. If you know you're going to get your ass beat, many times you just go ahead and you put your hands down and walk away.
We're still garage hopping, by the way. See, I'm still hopping garages here. We just have a camera equipment with us this time. So do you think this deal, where do you think it goes from here? Do you think this sticks and it's a total new direction now when it comes to foreign policy? Or are we going to be back here in a week from today saying, oh, okay, never mind?
I think you're going to see sabotage. You already saw the director of the FBI, or excuse me, what is he? The director of the CIA, John Radcliffe, say just yesterday that he heard of a possible Iranian drone, situation developing. And John Radcliffe also said that he thought that the chances, based off of his intelligence, the chances that Iran can adhere to the points of the MOU were very low. So, of course, like you've got the intelligence apparatus, many people that are interladen in it through Israel. They want this to still happen. You've got plenty of people. Here's a great example for the audience. A guy like Mike Waltz, who got caught on Signalgate, literally having private meetings with Benjamin Netanyahu. And this guy was, what was he? He was director. He was in some director of national intelligence or something like that. That's Tulsi, but he had a high intelligence position in the administration, gets caught having private meetings with Bibi. He's sending all kinds of like fists and flames and group chats when they first started bombing Iran the first time. So clearly a guy even within the administration is a great example. When people talk about us being compromised or subverted or infiltrated, that's true. So whether it's from someone in the, the media class, whether it's someone in the intelligence agencies, whether it's someone in the administration itself, we're working against a lot of forces that do not want peace. And they do not want peace because they want Israel to be the regional superpower and eventually a global superpower. And it makes things way, way more difficult when you have a strong Iran that is not having their hands tied behind their backs for them to deal with.
I just think it's crazy watching that press conference. And here's Trump probably being the most honest and transparent that we've seen when it comes to these negotiations. And obviously the responses that we covered here. It's unbelievable. I'm just stuck in a Twilight Zone mindset today. And I guess that is the biggest threat because we know the powers that be, they're not going to let go. They're not going to let go of the influence. They're not going to let go of all the things they've been able to accomplish on the backs of the American taxpayer. So they're not just going to let it go. And now it's almost like, okay, strap in. What are they going to do?
Hey, let's account for one more thing. Donald Trump was in front of a global audience the last couple of days. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he sounded so great around this global audience, because guess what this global audience thinks as a consensus? They all don't like Israel. They all complain about him all the time. It's much more popular in the foreign countries to complain about Israel's actions than it is here domestically. And of course, they have influence in their politics as well, but not to the extent of the United States.
Well, that's such an important point, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was thinking the same thing. Here's Trump. Really, I think you could say for about a week when it comes to negotiating the deal with Iran and now going to Geneva for the G7, Trump has been able to have these conversations about geopolitics, foreign policy, international relations. For the last week, Trump has been able to have these conversations without Netanyahu in his ear, without the Israeli lobby trying to steer it and shake it and stay in his ear to try to manipulate what he's hearing or how he feels about it. Maybe that has something to do with it. I wouldn't put it past Macron or some of the other representatives at the G7 that were having this conversation with Trump and just call me saying, hey, Mr. President, here's how we feel about the situation. We'd like you to get a deal done. And without any of, Netanyahu, because Netanyahu probably couldn't even go without getting arrested. So without Netanyahu's influence there, he's able to hear these things from the rest of the planet. And he's like, okay, this is what everybody wants me to do. This is popular.
Well, here's the other thing. I think that America, and I think that we did everything we possibly could to actually carry out the agenda that, like, you and I do not want. We did everything that we could to carry out this neoconservative, total Israel aggressive agenda. And I just don't think that the results went so badly. Iran successfully conducted such strategic, what do they call it? What's the word? Not adjacent warfare, but not guerrilla warfare either, but you get it. It's the type that involves misdirection, deception, asymmetrical warfare. They conducted it with such precision that honestly, I just don't think that we had much left to give. If we weren't going to do a full ground invasion, this is just where we're at. So look, for all I know, we could take time. We're low on munitions. Israel is exceptionally low on defense capabilities right now. And with what we know about, how many Iran seems to still have as far as ballistic missile supply, we know that their interceptor capacity is very important to them being able to, remain existing. Yeah. So I do think that, honestly, man, I think that we could see ourselves back there after we have significant amount of time to replenish. And these missiles aren't made very quickly. So it could be 2-4 years. It could be 10 years. I mean, the JCPOA got signed and we bought ourselves, what was it? I mean, maybe like 9 years, something like that. So ultimately, I think that we'll likely still be in the Middle East in some capacity, but I think that even though, a lot of these money figures, a lot of the particulars of this deal, many are not happy about, I think it's a good thing that we're out of there, and maybe we can start focusing on our own country for once.
Well, that's the hope, that we can, finally get off of this foreign policy disaster and start looking internally at some of the domestic policy issues and getting these things back on track before the midterms. That's just a mile marker we use in politics. It's like, let's do it tomorrow. But I do wonder if the chest thumping from Israel today, their attitude is, we're now free from America's influence. We're now free from America holding us back in this war. I wonder how much of that chest thumping is them just trying to make a bunch of noise and back people down, or if they really believe that, and we're going to see more aggression. I'm of the belief that no. I think that this is them trying to puff up their chest and appear a lot bigger. But at the end of the day, without the United States, I think they come down to size.
Look, I think Donald Trump is going to be, I think all the things we're asking ourselves right now, I think they're all going to be put to the test, because I do not think it's a question I don't think it's a question. Israel is going to strike Iran again. They are not going to comply by the new points of this deal. There will be some military action that is remaining happening in northern Israel, southern Lebanon. And so I think that when that continues to happen, Donald Trump is going to be forced to respond. His response will tell us how serious he is. When this next thing happens between Israel and Lebanon, which is inevitable, probably going to happen this week, tomorrow, who knows? I think his response will say a lot. And like I said, I do think that he's going to follow through on what was just said at the G7. I do think the points of the MOU are largely going to be followed through upon, but I think it's going to come with a ton of Israeli resistance. And I think that this could likely change the political landscape depending on how it all turns out. But they're going to try to make sure this doesn't go through. Worst case scenario would be like a bad false flag. Best case scenario would be that there's a small little thing between Israel and Lebanon, and Trump tells them to get fucked, and we start focusing on our own country. That's basically it.
Netanyahu came out and announced he's going to be running for re-election. Actually, he announced he's going to win re-election, is what he said, which is, it seems like that's almost part of this problem is they just need new leadership. It seems that Netanyahu is keeping them on the same path. I'm not sure how that election is going to go. Who knows if it even does go?
Well, his chances took a big tumble today because him remaining in a state of war is what's able to keep them.
Right.
He's able to keep some popular opinion, and he's able to keep delaying the actual election processions. So, yeah, I mean, that's why Bibi has his own personal interest for why he wants this war to continue. That's separate from the rest of the pro right-wing Israelis that all want the war, which is basically like all of them, honestly. But yeah, man, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Of course, Trump, as volatile as he is, he could say something completely opposite, or, he could truth social something that's completely cucked to Israel again. So we'll have to see. But I do think that the direction of things, where the wheel is starting to turn, I do think it's at least somewhat encouraging. I think the reasoning for it happening is because we bit off way more than we could chew, and Iran gave us a fight we weren't really prepared for, especially with the asymmetric stuff hitting the other Gulf states that really don't have, capable armies. But yeah, man, I think it's good. I think where we're headed is better than where we were a few weeks ago.
Well, I admitted on Monday that I could be falling victim to hopium, and I will recognize that still could be the case. But I feel like this foreign policy directional change is catching tread. I feel it just feels different to me. It doesn't feel like we've moved the tires, but they're not on the ground. It feels like we moved the tires and now they're actually touching ground. I don't know.
Don't worry. He's just stopping the war so he can come back and start up the old anti-Semitism task force that's going to replace ICE or whatever they got up there.
You didn't get your invite to Leo Terrell's party at the White House yesterday with the dancing festivities and everything?
I'm surprised they even let me even live in the country anymore because remember, if you tell the truth about wars or, Muslims or Jews, it's like you're not even allowed to stay. So
you're going to be getting a call from Leo Terrell. Okay. After a segment like this, Leo Terrell is going to be all over you. They may even be digging into your background.
Well, luckily for old Leo, we're actually travel history in here tonight at the Trippy household. So all good, my G.
All right. No tornadoes. You're not floating in the sky.
Man, we're so focused. We're like in a Iran center right now. So I don't know about the outside world. We'll see.
You're in the Win War bunker right now.
Yes, sir.
Great stuff. All right. Producer DMT with us. Follow him on X for more information. He's been all over this deal. All right. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how all of this is impacting the economy. Are there any financial decisions you even need to be considering about making in the coming days with all of this volatility? We're seeing it in the stock market, obviously. We've seen it in the economy recently. We're going to come back with Alex Abkarian and get into all of this and talk about, is there anything you need to be thinking? Is there anything you need to be doing while all of this is happening? We take a short break. We'll be back and get into how this impacts the economy and decisions you might be considering.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
He's called the Babe Ruth of political talk and analysis. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Yes. Well, they do call me the Babe Ruth of political talk and analysis because I call my shots. But when it comes to the economy and the decisions that I need to be making with my wealth and finances, I go to Alex Abkarian. He's my Babe Ruth when it comes to wealth and finances. Alex joins me today. Well, Alex, we like to get updates from you as far as the markets are concerned, specifically with precious metals, obviously. With all of the chaos we've seen in the Middle East, we've seen how it's affected the U.S. economy. What about the gold and silver markets? How does all of this tie into the Middle East, oil prices, the U.S. dollar? What are you looking at in these crazy times, Alex Abkarian?
Thanks for having me, Owen. Well, today, right before the show, one of the things we had is the new Fed chair came out and gave us the direction of the interest rates. Everyone wanted to have lower interest rates, but guess what? The Fed is thinking about potentially raising the interest rates by the end of the year. Why does this matter? Let's go to war. War resulted in higher oil prices. What did that do? It created an artificial synthetic demand for dollars. So in the short term, the dollar benefited, but we know very well that all this printing, all this deficit spending is going to create a loss of purchasing power. So when the inflation came out last week at 4.2%, although President Trump said, I love inflation at 4.2% because he has a new Fed chair and they're thinking about possibly changing the way they calculate inflation to justify lowering the interest rates. Here's the bottom line to the average person. Today, the Dow is down about 700 points, and we want to thank Kevin Warsh allowing gold to take a little bit of step back to allow a better opportunity from an entry point. The short-term price of gold took a little bit of a dip. Gold has been trading between 4,200 to about 4,400. And as soon as any announcement has been made, it's been a tit for tat movement, Owen. Oil prices drop, gold goes up. That is not normal. So one of the things I've done is I've studied historical performances. Anytime there is a war in Middle East where a country that affects the oil prices, what does that translate to the dollar, to oil, to the market, and gold in general? What we've seen is that the first 3 to 6 months, gold will be sideways, and thereafter it will take off. Why? Because oil prices eventually go down and interest rate raise will not be one of the equations.
I did see that they were talking about an interest rate hike. I haven't heard President Trump say anything about that. I can't imagine he's happy about that. Do we really anticipate? Are they going to hike interest rates against President Trump's wishes?
Well, look, the Fed is supposed to be independent, right? So what President Trump did is he gave the House to Kevin Warsh, but the key is the one that holds it. So what's happening? The fact that the inflation had gone up, it signals that the value of the dollar is a little bit higher. And as a result, they're thinking about raising the interest rates. This is what they communicated right after the meeting by the end of the year. Today, they did not change the interest rates, but initially they were forecasting 3.4 for the year end. Right now, they're forecasting 3.8, which simply means do anticipate some rate hikes come September or November decision.
Well, that would not be good news for the American consumer, especially when you consider the housing market. Everybody, it's like everybody's trying to find a way, they say stretch the dollar. They're just trying to find a way to stretch value in anything right now, whether it's the stock market, whether it's precious metals. I mean, that's what I notice. Or even, when it comes to the housing market, they're trying to get the highest price they can, obviously, but the market is just driving it down because buyers don't want to pay these high interest rates. So, when I look at this stuff, I'm always watching the stock market because it's so volatile. When I think about, gold and silver, to me, that's like you buy it, you hold it. That's long-term stuff. I'm not watching the price of gold every day, but it seems like you mentioned it's still over 4,000. I mean, that's remaining high. I mean, there was a short period of volatility, but it looks like it's staying over 4,000. Is that going to be the case?
Absolutely. It actually tested around 4,100 and it increased. What happened? Last Friday when we got the job numbers, although we were anticipating that the price of gold was going to be dropping a little bit, but the quite opposite happened. Because here's the thing, there is a disconnect. If you look at the job numbers, it was and upbeat. But the reality was that majority of the jobs was because of the World Cup. When you have short-term jobs, hospitality, entertainment, restaurants, hotels, when the World Cup ends, you are going to see some dip in the job numbers. So there is a disconnect between the real economy, where the average person feels that their dollar is not going as far. Inflation is hitting them at 4.2%, but they know it's actually much higher. But the reality is gold is just watching this. Central bank survey was done last week. 87% of them overwhelmingly said we are going to continue to debase against the dollar. What does that mean? Well, they want to include gold part of their reserves because A, it's neutral, they're in control, no one can take it away from them. B, they see the writing on the wall. Deficit spending, high inflation, it's not good for the value of the dollar. That's why gold is doing what it's supposed to. It's just stable. It goes back to the 5 principles of gold: preservation, protection, profit potential, privacy, and more importantly, proper diversification. I urge the listeners to kind of take a step back. Don't be stuck in the news, say that we have a temporary deal with Iran. That means everything is going to be honky-dory. This is where you need to pay a lot more attention, so that way before the problem occurs, at least you have some sort of a layer of protection.
Well, and you got to be considering that right now. Like I said, everybody's trying to stretch their value as much as possible, whatever assets that they have. To me, I just look at it as, do you really want to hold money in a bank account right now if it's either going to be losing value or maintaining value, especially if you think gold is going to be increasing in value, which I think historically it would say that, yes, that is going to be the case, or at least it's going to hold steady right now. So, but when you guys see this, in the precious metal markets, when you see, war breaking out, war calming down, does this get you guys excited? It's like, hey, the war is stopping. This is good. My investors are going to see a better return. They're going to feel more stable.
Look, let me give you the scoreboard. If you compare the dollar to the value of gold, let's just go back to the year 2000. Since then, gold has been up about 14, 15 times. Now, back then, no one could have anticipated that gold was going to outperform the dollar. Better yet, if you compare gold to the S&P 500, specifically in the year 2000, gold has also outperformed it. Gold's intention is not to compete to outperform the major indexes. Specifically, when you have a lot of hype and intention with SpaceX's recent IPO. So there's a lot of, and by the way, when you have big IPOs, historically, we've seen that at the top of the market, okay? So what I remind people of is go back to the year 1999, see what happened. Go back to the year 2007. Right now, you're seeing some good data and some bad data. The bad data is coming from decision makers. CEOs are a little bit pessimistic. Why? Because they just dealt with a wave of tariffs, and then they dealt with the wave of higher oil prices and higher inflation, and they're forced to pass that cost to the average consumer. And what happens is the average consumer, there comes a point where they're gonna tap out. This is what you're talking about, stretching the dollar. But when you have your wages are growing slower than inflation, in other words, inflation is higher than wage growth, there comes a point where you're not going to be able to dip into your savings constantly, because unlike the government, we can't print. So with that being said, when you talk about the housing market, affordability is going to rear its ugly head when inflations go up. That's on credit cards, that's on auto loans. Who's going to benefit? People that have some money in the bank account, they might get a little bit of higher savings. But don't forget, if you factor in inflation from a real rate return, whatever the bank is paying you, deduct that from the real inflation, you're going to see that you're barely breaking even. So this is exactly where gold comes into play, because it's something outside of the system. You know this, Owen. When the system is challenged, the system will always save itself. Who's the system? The banking cartel, the Federal Reserve, the government's involvement. So this is why it's important for people to have something that it's outside of the system where they're in control.
And something they can hold on to. I mean, how many people are holding on to all their cash? Not many. They're putting it into a bank account, and that can go wrong in so many ways. We don't want it to, but you gotta be prepared, and that's where it's at. But also, I mean, look, if you got into gold early, you look like a genius right now. If you got into gold when it was low, you're feeling like a king right now. And if you're waiting, it's like, well, what are you waiting for exactly? What are we waiting for exactly? I don't think it's going back down. I think that's the decision. That's a pretty safe conclusion to reach at this point. So yes, if you're thinking about getting involved in gold, guys, or silver, whichever one you prefer, both, Alex, you are the place to go to, and we really appreciate Allegiance Gold and you bringing up all the economic news, how all this war news impacts the markets, and how people can help, how you can help people make smart decisions with all this volatility.
Absolutely. We're here. The best way to get hold of us is 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. And ask us about the special. Here's what we have. If you invest $50,000 or more, you're going to qualify for $2,500 in promotional silver. If you invest $100,000 or more, you'll qualify up to $5,000 in silver. And by the way, if you have an IRA or 401k or a TSP, we will cover the custodial fee, and we have a department that handles it all. And the good news, everyone here works in the U.S., here in our office, and we're ready to help, and we look forward to assisting your listeners.
And Allegiance Gold is a great sponsor of the show, guys. Alex, a great sponsor of the show. So if you like the show, remember, he helps put it on air every day. And so, Alex, we thank you for that as well.
Thanks for having me, Owen.
All right, Alex, there he goes. Trying to keep up with the economic stuff, trying to keep pace with the gold markets as well. Like I said, I don't really check. I'll put, you buy gold, you put it in your safe, whatever. You're not really following the price on a daily basis like you are the stock market. Every once in a while, you buy it low, you check it out. It's like, whoa, hey, that's looking good. So guys, do remember that though. If you are thinking about precious metals, if you are thinking about gold, protectwithowen.com. Great sponsor of the show, Allegiance Gold. So if you like the show, we appreciate Allegiance Gold. Okay, let's see here. I still got some stuff on the docket. We can probably do a little bonus time today. But I really do want to take calls. We have quite a bit of super chats. So I think I'm going to try to clear this docket, take calls, and then maybe do a little bonus time for the super chat. So let's get through the rest of the stack here. It's a lot of the same stuff we've already been covering. I don't want to be too redundant. Oh, and I said, I guess when I came back first with DMT, guys, I scrolled X. I took the break, went and got some water, and I'm sitting there scrolling X for a minute. And the hatred that you're seeing for Donald Trump from the Israeli lobby is unreal. And it's getting worse, if you can believe that. It's like, you saw what we covered on the show. It's getting worse. Now, I've been mentioning one Trump advisor specifically when it comes to all of this, and that's Alex Bruesewitz. Young guy, seems to be very level-headed on foreign policy, not really too extreme in any direction, just level-headed. And he's seeing a lot of these attacks today, and he's documenting this specifically against him. Now, that's actually more interesting why Alex is under so much heat today, but he's seeing this, he's documenting this. He still has Trump's ear. So these are all important developments, and he's calling them out today. It looks like the latest round of talking points just dropped. The new directive appears to be go after Alex Bruesewitz. I support President Trump's efforts to secure a peace deal. Why are some of you opposing him on this? Have you joined the woke right now? Ho-ho! Trump advisor Alex Bruesewitz. And he's calling out Eyal Jacoby and Eitan Fishberger, who obviously are two very pro-Israel accounts. Look, I don't even know who runs these accounts. And obviously, if you guys have watched the debate, I've already done a debate with Eyal online. Then we did the debate in person. I've met Eyal. You might be surprised. You meet some of these people outside of social media. You meet some of these people outside the world of politics. You might be surprised you're not so different. You actually get along. I don't know. I wonder if Eyal even runs his account a lot of the times. I have to tell you, I do wonder. And then I also have to wonder, as Alex Brusiewicz is wondering today, who's putting out these talking points? Who's sending out the memos about who to attack and when? Because you can clearly see it. I mean, we've seen this documented so many times. Clearly there is, and we know about the digital influence campaigns. But this is not like normal digital influence campaigns. This is like raw lobbying efforts. This is like raw foreign policy lobbying efforts through a digital influence campaign infrastructure, but it's really just raw foreign lobbying. So it's very interesting to see that Brusiewicz is being attacked on this and calling it out. And I'm guessing he will in some way, shape, or form eventually even bring this to President Trump's desk and say, hey, look, here's what's going on social media. He's very in tune with that. And he's very level-headed as far as it's concerned. So we've seen it before, and now we're seeing it again. And Brusiewicz continues to remain consistently neutral and fair on the issues. I wonder if he's going to be speaking with Trump anytime soon. Might be a good thing. And then last night, Bongino is on Hannity. Bongino goes on Hannity to tell everybody how Iran is getting ready to attack, basically. That's what Bongino did last night. He went on Hannity and told everybody how Iran is about to attack. Oh, I'm sure it's all a coincidence, guys. I'm sure it's all a coincidence that as the peace deal gets signed, we have all the normal propaganda agents that all hated Trump in 2016, by the way. All of them are now telling you how Iran is inevitably going to attack. And you know what? On that front, briefly, because DMT got into this a little bit, this is going to be one of the weirdest things. I hope we don't have to witness it, by the way. Let me be perfectly clear. I don't want to see this. It's pretty clear that some people want to see this. It's pretty clear that there are people out there that want to see a radical Islamic terror attack in our country. They want to see it, and we all know why. We all know why. And it's ironic because the people that are screaming the loudest about accountability for the open borders, you know, they're the ones that these same people that want the terror attack to happen, they're the same ones that are being attacked by them. Here's what's crazy, and I think that Trump just called their bluff once. And I think that maybe that's why I feel so differently today or even this week about the situation, because, you know, this is the biggest game of geopolitical chicken that we've ever seen with Israel, Iran, and Trump. I don't think you've ever seen a bigger political game of chicken. And so far, all Iran has had to do was just stay on the path and just say, if you want to do a head-on collision, we can do a head-on collision. But when Trump has asked them, hey, can we not do this? They seem to respond well. And now Trump has been able to have these conversations without any interference, without any incoming propaganda. And we see the things that he's saying and doing now. But this is more than just Trump. But you have the Trump angle. If there's an attack on U.S. soil and whoever claims it's Iran, because you see now that they'll come out, they'll make these claims before Trump is even briefed. They'll have they'll have entire packages ready to go. And they already tried to do this. Remember, 2 years ago about the drones on the East Coast, and then some fake Israeli intelligence told a congressman that those were Iranian drones. You remember that? And then he went on the news. So this is what they do. The same reason why Mark Levin wants Congress to review the peace deal, so the Israeli agents in Congress can see it. So they give somebody bad intelligence that there is a fleet of drones. There is a drone mothership off the East Coast, an Iranian drone mothership. Trump gets asked this question like a day or two after becoming president, and he says, yeah, it's all fake news. He says there is no Iranian mothership. That's not what they were. So he already knows, at least in a very small instance, that this is the type of stuff that they're going to try to do. But now that Trump has apparently worked out a peace deal with Iran, and obviously these are negotiations he's directly involved in, if not having himself. Well, what happens if there's some terror attack and all the media and all the usual agents are blaming Iran and Trump doesn't believe it? Boy, is that going to be a phenomenon. And it feels like we might be looking at that potentially happening. And here's another one. If there is a terror attack on this country and they do want to blame Iran or Muslims, how many people are just never going to believe it? This is also a very real phenomenon. I would argue if there's a terror attack on this country, even if they run with all the normal mainstream media outlets that it's Iranian or it's a Muslim terror attack, I don't think anybody will believe it. I would actually argue that the majority of Americans that actually follow politics, I'm not talking about the drive-by consumers that they just see a headline and then that's that. I'm talking about the people that actually follow politics, talk politics, they care about it. They're invested. How many people are even going to believe that? Because I think, should there be a terror attack, I think the rhetoric, I think the narrative is going to be, this is an Israeli false flag. And it's not going to be some dark corner of the internet. It's not going to be some low budget publication. It's not going to be on a TV show that nobody's watching. It's going to be mainstream. It's going to be loud. It's going to be such an unavoidable discussion that they're going to have to address it. And even just having to address it is problematic. So I could see both of these things possibly happening in the near future, but we have to hope not. I mean, God forbid we have to deal with more death and destruction because of this. God forbid. And God forbid, it's like, man, maybe we can get some momentum going. It's like, we got some momentum going right now, man. I don't care what you say. We got momentum going right now. This country has momentum going right now. Things are going in our favor right now. We can feel it. We haven't felt this way in a while. There's a glimmer there. We can see a light again. I don't want to see that light snuffed out again. I don't want to see this momentum that we have redirected into another debacle after a terrorist attack. I don't want to see it. I pray to God we don't have to see it. But if it comes to that, I do think the conversation and the narrative is not going to go well. I think it's inevitable that nobody will believe it. Nobody will believe it. And I'm seeing this a lot. Of course, it's ridiculous, but you're going to see a lot of this. No one is going to suspect Israel secretly controls America now. Imagine taking such a complex issue of foreign influence and the history of the Israeli lobby and boiling it down to one peace deal and saying, see, that's proof. Talk about low IQ, talking about low effort. If anything, all the developments that have led up to this actually prove that, yes, it has been Israeli foreign influence that has been controlling our foreign policy. And now that there's a moment where it might not, we see the panic, we see the entitlement. So sorry, not buying that one. Now, here's a grounded opinion. And this is why, people always say, why do you go to Israeli news sources? Well, you need to. You need to go to Israeli news sources because sometimes they have news that won't make its way here. And it gives you a little bit of perspective that you can't get from the American media. So this is Amir Tibon, an Israeli journalist. And by the way, he's written books about October 7th. I mean, he's no leftist. He comes out and he says this today. The Israelis who are now piling on Trump are simply living in a movie and oblivious to reality. Trump, love him or not, is the only significant leader in the entire world who still supports Israel. The last one. He's also very likely to be the last American president who will support us without reservations or demands. Now, see, he goes on here. I don't want to read the whole thing. But he's basically saying the truth, which is, hey, look, if you guys turn on Trump and you guys throw Trump overboard because of this peace deal, that's it. And Amir is obviously, this is an example of self-awareness. See, this is an example of an Israeli that actually has awareness and doesn't have an issue where entitlement outweighs the awareness, or it's like entitlement is 100%, awareness is 0%. This is like awareness 100%, entitlement 0%. And he gets it. And this is the truth. And this is what I've been saying for years. If you really care about Israel and you're really concerned about Jewish people, you have to understand the real damage being done here is by the Israeli lobby and by the decisions of Netanyahu. That's the real damage being done. It's not Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes. That ain't it. That ain't it. But this is the truth. And he's sitting here, he's saying, guys, you're living in a pipe dream. Without the United States of America, I don't think you guys are being reality-based as far as what that means for us. This is not good news for us. And turning on Trump, the last world leader that is still willing to ride or die with us, is a big mistake. And he's right. Now, fortunately, I don't live in Israel, so I won't have to deal with whatever happens if they lose the United States of America as far as an ally is concerned. But the Israelis will. And it's like nobody's warning them. They really don't see it. All right, so quickly, I mentioned this earlier. I'm sure many of you saw the the rape gang grooming report here that came out from Rupert Lowe. Our inquiry report proves that without a doubt, there is an undeniable link between religion and rape gangs, Islam. As a country, we need to find courage to finally say so. I don't think anybody's lacking the courage to say that. You guys have mainstreamed that. People are more afraid to say things about Israel and how there's a direct, undeniable link between Israel and constant war and foreign policy in America. But, people are scared to say that. Nobody's scared to say this about Islam. Now, here's what's crazy. And Rob Smith kind of hinting about this today. He says, in regards to this report, they say 250,000 women were raped by this Muslim rape gang. 250,000. Pretty astronomical number. So astronomical, it's kind of unbelievable, but okay. So Rob Smith says, you're not covering this thing because you're all secretly radical Islamists while working for media companies taking millions to shill for Israel isn't hitting like it did 6 months ago, is it? So I want you to understand where Rob Smith is coming from. Guys, I have never seen what happened today behind the scenes. I talked about behind the scenes how there's true panic about this peace deal. That is legitimate. Behind the scenes, I have never seen this. There is so much pressure today. That story, it's like there has never been more pressure for everybody to cover that story. It's weird. Like all the text message threads, all the digital influence campaign, chat threads, everything else. They're all talking about this. They're all saying how everybody has to cover this. This is the biggest story. Now I could easily sit here and do the obvious and say, gee, what coincidental timing as Israel is losing the world and as international Jewish influence is becoming a major topic of conversation, and even the Epstein files. Oh, look, they're going to tell you 250,000 women were raped by Muslims, and they're going to tell you that's the only story you need to care about. I could easily point out the coincidence there, but hey, maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe there really were 250,000 girls raped by Muslims. I'm not here telling you anything about that. Throw them all in the wood chipper. I have never seen it, guys. The pressure behind the scenes for everyone in the American media to cover that story today. I've never seen anything like it. It was weird. And that's what Rob Smith is alluding to here is all of these, you're in the media, you get access to these chat boards and they put you in these group chats and everything else. You see this stuff. And he's probably more DC connected and oriented than me in Texas. But guys, like every single one of these groups was being told to share the story today. It was weird. And then there was this like twisting of your arm. It was like this weird twisting of the arm. Like, yeah, you cover Epstein, but not this. Like you're the bad guy. It feels, it doesn't feel organic. Okay. It doesn't feel organic. I'll leave it at that. But when I saw Rob Smith post that earlier, and I even sent him a message, I was like, so you're seeing it too? Like you're seeing this weird campaign for everyone to cover this in the American media too? He's like, yeah. So, but then they're going to try to juxtapose this like Dana Loesch is doing today. She says, silence from Podcastistan on this. I wonder why. Oh, Dana. You guys, I'm telling you, the pressure to cover this, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like this behind the scenes, the pressure to cover this story and make it the number one story today. Never seen anything like it. So you can take your guesses as to why. Dana, this is a 10-year-old story. We have been covering this story for 10 years. For 10 years, we've been covering this story. You are the one that didn't cover it. When did you have Tommy Robinson on your show? When did you have the families of the girls that were getting raped? When did you have the families in the school systems where the foreigners were taking over the school systems and then they were forcing them to wear hijabs and do everything else? Where were you, Dana? Because we covered that stuff 10 years ago. We have been covering this for 10 years. Now, maybe you didn't see it because unlike you, we have actually been censored from the internet. I've actually been banned from all the social media platforms. So maybe that's why you didn't see our coverage of it, Dana, because unlike you, I actually get censored. And I find it even more ironic that she claims she's the one getting censored. She claims in her little bio here that she's the one getting censored. No, Dana, you're not getting censored. It's just unbelievable how unpopular you are. And it's so unbelievable that you think you're getting censored because you're not popular anymore. You're established. Obviously, you're already established in the media. You're not going anywhere. You're there. You've done it. You've made it. You've had a successful career. But you're just not popular. Nobody's throttling your account, Dana. And we covered this story 10 years ago, and we were getting censored for it. But here's what's even more ironic about this today from Dana Loesch. And I believe we might have another comment from Dana. Maybe we already covered it. You know, it's funny to hear this from Dana Loesch today because it turns out, and this is a good example, it turns out you guys, like Dana Loesch, you guys are always 10 years behind everything. You're 10 years. You guys are so far behind us that you can't even see us. We're lapping you. So when Dana was writing anti-Trump hit pieces, when Dana Loesch was convincing her audience to not vote Trump, when Dana Loesch was trying everything that she could to keep Trump out of the White House, we were covering the Muslim rape gangs, Dana. Okay? So while you were trying to keep Trump out of the White House, we were covering the Muslim rape gangs. You're 10 years behind us. So now you support Trump and you're covering the Muslim rape gangs. You're 10 years behind us, Dana. Okay? Try to catch up. Or don't. You might pull a muscle, actually. For your own health and safety, you should probably just stay at the pace you're at because you might hurt yourself. Now, here's the larger thing that I've been talking about when it comes to this story. You don't have the moral high ground anymore. This whole thing is about putting Muslims at the bottom of the high ground again, telling you Muslims are the worst people on earth again. That's what this whole thing is about. Let's just call it what it is. This is all about putting Muslims back to the bottom of civilization. That's what they're trying to do. That's why they're doing this today. That's why they're pushing it today. It doesn't work anymore. And you might agree with this from Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh says this today. He says, this is approximately 1 million times worse than Epstein. It's not even remotely close. The scale, the nature of the crimes, the powerful institutions implicated, and yet something tells me that many of the Epstein obsessives will have nothing at all to say about this. Again, we covered this 10 years ago. This is old news. Is it significant? Is it serious? Yeah. Do you believe all of it? I mean, 250,000 girls raped. I mean, that's almost unbelievable. Whatever. I'll take it at face value. I don't care. It's not my country. I already covered this story. If it wasn't for us covering this, you probably don't even get this report. I mean, that's even the greater irony. If it wasn't for us covering this 10 years ago and mainstream platforming people like Tommy Robinson, you wouldn't even get this report. You wouldn't have this report today if it wasn't for us, by the way. But this isn't about, oh, you'll cover Epstein and not this. No, this is about the people that won't cover Epstein and cover this. That's what this is about. So I'm just curious. If these men had private jets and private islands, would it be okay? Because that's the argument. If these guys had private jets and private islands and political influence, would all of this be okay? No, this isn't about, oh, they'll cover Epstein and not the Muslim rape games. No. This is about you'll only cover the Muslim rape games and not cover the Epstein files. That's what this is really about. And we all know why. And it's so obvious. So no, you can't sit here and juxtapose one coverage versus the other in that light. It's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. Now you could argue it's worse, and maybe it is, and you can make that presentation. But let's remember, this happened in the UK. This is a UK problem. The Epstein files and the Epstein clients, those are Americans. That was influencing our country. So there is a little bit of a difference as far as that's concerned. But no, don't sit here and point the finger that are called. And this is what it was all about. This is what I believe it was all about. It was all about putting this out here, pointing the finger at the people that covered the Epstein files and saying, see, Muslims are worse. That's what I think this was really about. And when I see the same people pushing this today, saying, oh, you'll cover Epstein, but not this. No, we already covered this. This is 10 years old stuff. Everybody already covered this. We've been covering this. And then they'll say, oh, I didn't see your coverage. I was censored off the internet, jackass. Of course you didn't see it, because I'm a real truth teller. I'm not a fraud. I'm not a phony. I actually get censored, not like Dana Lesh. So if you didn't see it, it's probably because I was censored. Oh, no. This isn't about the double standard over here. This is about your double standard if you're not willing to call out the Epstein files, but you'll call out this. That's your double standard, not ours. Don't try to throw this in our face. Get that the hell out of our face. I don't care whether it's Muslims raping girls in Europe or non-Muslims with a private jet and a private island raping girls. It's all bad, and we call it all out here. Don't put that in our face. Don't try that. Don't try that one here. That doesn't work. By the way, there's a French woman. This whole thing is so crazy, and that's why it doesn't add up to me. But there's a French woman who was sexually assaulted by a Tunisian migrant, and she could be sentenced to prison for incitement to racial hatred because she said that the man that sexually assaulted her is a black African. So you're not even allowed to describe the criminals that assault you. So can you imagine that? You're a woman and you get raped in France, and they say, what did the rapist look like? And she says, it was a black migrant. Oh my gosh. Racist. You're going to jail. What do you mean? I'm describing the person. Oh, that's racist. You can't do that. Well, what am I supposed to do now? So that's crazy. That's crazy. By the way, they did another 8 segments on anti-Semitism on Fox News yesterday. And they even brought those guys on. The whole thing is starting to feel like a psyop, to be honest, with the Austin Franco. Again, you could say you don't want to work for a Muslim and they would all praise you for it. But if you say you don't want to work for a Jew, all of a sudden you're a criminal, the worst person on earth, and Fox News is doing 10 segments about you in 2 days. Zero on the plane crash in Washington. 0 on the plane crash in California on Fox News yesterday. 0. 8 segments on anti-Semitism. Let's see a couple other things here. Oh, yeesh. Republican State Senator Roy Holmberg, caught flying overseas to diddle little boys, has been sentenced to 10 years in prison. That is a former North Dakota senator. And then Britain's first gay surrogate parent charged with rape and trafficking. Oh, that's number 2. Same thing happened here in America. Remember that one? Yeah, these gay men adopt boys and then they get charged with rape. Seems to be a pattern here. Maybe we should stop setting kids up to be raped. We going to talk about that too? Huh. That's interesting, isn't it? That's interesting. All right, I need to take a short break. Let's take a short break. We're going to come back, open up phone lines, and we'll do a little bonus time today for some super chats too. I need a short break, phone calls, super chats on a Wednesday Owen Report transmission.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
No, que stop this. No, que stop this. No, que stop this. No, que stop this. No, que stop this.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, I want to open some phone lines on all of this. Very, foreign policy, Iran deal centric show today. So I want to open up the phone lines and get your responses to all of this. Agree with me, agree with my analysis today, disagree with some of my analysis today, whatever it is. We want to hear from you. So phone line is open. The number is 747-255-60, 747-255-60. Let's get this line up. Hold on. Uh-oh. They may have shut down access to our phone line here. Oh, wait. I think we're good. Oh my gosh, what is going on? There we go. Okay. All right. Phone line is up. 747-255-60. Sorry for that technical snafu. The phone number is up. Your responses to what we have covered today. Remember, when you hear my voice, you are on the air. When you hear my voice, you are on the air. I simply ask what your name is and where you're from so people can know, and I can call you by your name. But you are on the air. So, first caller of the day. What is your name? Where are you from?
Owen, it's Tay-Tay from Florida.
What's up, Tay-Tay?
Yeah, guess what? James Fishback actually liked one of my ex posts.
Hey, today's not the day to simp for Fishback. What else you got?
Fishback 2026.
All right. I want to talk about the Iran deal. I want to talk about the foreign policy. I want to talk about what we discussed today, Tay-Tay. I'm sure you have some super chats in there. We'll read your super chats. For the phone calls, guys, please, let's stick topical today. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
What's going on, Owen? It's Alex in Kentucky.
What's up, Alex?
Hey, glad to hear that you're in a good mood today. While I think the potential peace agreement is good in the short term, I just don't see how it benefits us in the long run when Iran is really the big winner. And it's just a shame that we even got into the war to begin with, all for Israel, in my opinion. We talked about the cost of the war. I looked up an article on the Harvard Kennedy School. It was a pretty interesting article. Just the fact that the Tomahawk missiles that we use were valued around $2 million each, and now it costs $3 to $3.5 million to produce them. The Patriot missiles in inventory were valued at $1 to $2 million, but each new version costs $4 to $5 million each. And the fact that we've just depleted our supply, we're opening up these funds to Iran. It seems like they're coming out as the big winner in all this.
Well, there's no doubt. I don't think anybody here is arguing that this, this latest struggle in the Middle East was good for America. Certainly not. Nobody here is arguing that. We'll see. Maybe somebody might call in and say that. So I think we're mostly in agreement. But to me, it's like we're stopping. Well, hopefully we're stopping any further damage is what pleases me about this. Is it looks like we're trying to stop any further damage. But yeah, the damage has already been done. I don't think there's any denying that.
I agree with you there. And yeah, just got to stop the bleeding at some point, cut our losses. We got the hand that we were dealt with Trump. I don't know. And now they had to come out and take some time to come out with the terms of the agreement. I think that's just them, Iran and the U.S. negotiating what we're going to lie to the public about what's in the actual agreement. I have no faith in anything. But
I do wonder that.
I got one more question. Have you decided if you're going to Louder Than Life this year?
When is that again?
Into September.
End of September. I have not, but if you remind me closer to the date, I maybe if I remember that and I remember that later tonight, maybe I'll go check out tickets. But I haven't even thought about that till you just brought it up. But the lineup at that music festival is one of the greatest I've ever seen. So I'm considering it now that you brought it up again.
Get your Limp Bizkit ticket. I'm gonna sneak one more in for you because I like some slop. You have a favorite Western?
A favorite Western movie?
Movie. Yes,
you gotta say the original Magnificent Seven. I would say the original Magnificent Seven. The remake wasn't bad, but the original is still my favorite. And he said something there. Thank you for the call. It's like I agree. I don't know how much we can trust the information we're getting out about the deal. And I'm not saying that as like, oh, Trump's lying, whatever. I'm wondering if there isn't some strategery behind what they are releasing and what they aren't releasing, is kind of how I would put that. But I agree. I'm not so sure if we know the real details yet. And then Friday is supposed to, Friday's the day, apparently the big day that we will. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hey, well, this is Albert.
All right, fake Albert, disrespectful of the real Albert. Go ahead.
Oh, and how's it going, man? It's been a minute. How you doing?
Come on. You know the topic, Albert. Let's go.
All right, well, look, check it out, man. I think Trump, it's a no-go, man. I mean, he only has what? How many years left? 2 more years before, it's not enough time on it. It's just, we're already kind of lost in the mix with this. I don't see any kind of major kind of turnaround or anything like that, Owen. It's just, I don't see it.
Okay, so what do you see?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. There's so many variables at play. It's really hard to just tell what is going to happen based off of what we've seen and what it's a clusterfuck. Excuse my language, but it's the truth. It's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's definitely been a cluster bomb, and that's what we're hoping. That's the big difference. That's what we're hoping the difference is. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Jordan from Alabama, Owen.
All right, Jordan, go ahead.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I haven't been this rock hard since 2016 for Trump. I totally gave up on him, totally gave up for the past few months. But, man, I'm not saying we're back, but just to see the crash out from the Israel First people these last 48 hours, man, rock hard. Rock freaking hard.
Look, I'm telling you, man, it's real. It's not people. I understand. Hey, question everything. I get it. Question me. You don't have to trust me. I think my track record speaks for itself. But I'm telling you, behind the scenes, it's just as bad. Behind the scenes, as far as like the media landscape, the desperation is just as bad. Now, I'm not really connected to the political world, except through my sources and my media people. But I'm hearing the political world is just as upside down. I'm hearing the panic inside of the political bubble is just as upside down as it is in the media bubble today.
You know what will fully get me back on? If we wake up in the next 48 hours from now and we hear Pete Hegseth is gone, I'm telling you, I will be fully back on. If we get rid of a couple of these people from the administration,
why Hegseth?
I feel like he's the one that helped push Trump into this war.
Really?
Yeah.
You think? No, I look at Hegseth as more of a yes man.
I don't know, man. I was all about Hegseth for a while, but I just feel like he's all in with Israel too.
I mean,
I feel like he might have been the guy pushing it.
I mean, I'm not denying. I mean, obviously Hegseth has shown his commitment to Israel. I'm not in a disagreement with that. I think that's just a fact. I don't see, to me, from what I've seen, Hegseth doesn't really get involved in policy. He's a yes man. He supports Trump and he does what he's told. I don't really see him getting as much involved in policy. I think that's about Wiles gatekeeping. I think that's about Rubio. I think it's people like
Love
Levin.
to see him gone, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, and look how they're all begging for Rubio in 2028 too. I say good. Go ahead, run Rubio. He'll get crushed, and then maybe in 2032 we can have a real right-wing conservative movement to save the country.
I would absolutely love that. I'm with you 100%, Owen. As much as I don't like JD, I hope he causes a ruckus these next few weeks.
Oh, he's doing it, is he not? I mean, my goodness.
He is. He is. Him on Megyn Kelly, him going on The View. Not a big fan of that, but still, hey, keep it going, brother.
He's doing it. That's right. Thank you for the call. I also want to say, because of the way the caller phrased that at the beginning, just so people, I know a lot of you understand, but for people that don't, maybe you're tuning in for the first time and you're trying to orient, what it is I'm doing here. This isn't about, am I back on the Trump train? Am I off the train? This is not what this is about. I've already kind of expressed this before, but to make it short, that's not what this is, folks. This is just political play-by-play. That's what this is. Now, when I express, how I'm feeling about stuff, okay, maybe we get into, opinion, emotion even. I'm just doing political play-by-play. So the team can be down by 10 touchdowns, but if we just ran a 90-yard touchdown, we ran a 90-yard touchdown. I'm going to say that's a 90-yard touchdown. So that's kind of what this is. It's like, I'm just doing political play-by-play, guys. I'm telling you the Israeli lobby is freaked out. I'm telling you the Israeli firsters are freaked out. Like, I'm telling you, this is all real. As far as the deal and the merits and all this stuff, I don't know. But the panic, that's real. And it's very telling to me. So this is just political play-by-play. If you want to say, hey, this gets me back on the Trump train, then that's fine. If you say, I'm never getting back on the Trump train, that's fine. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm not trying to tell you, this is not about a political movement for me anymore. I'm just doing political play-by-play now. That's what this is. Now, if the plays on the field, motivate you to feel some way, then so be it. But I felt it was necessary to kind of say that so that people understand what this is. I'm not telling you to support Trump again. I'm not telling you. You make your own decisions. This is just political play-by-play. That's what's happening. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
This is Mego Von Villen from Texas.
You got in today, Mego.
I did. It's amazing. First of all, the super chat I tried to send yesterday said every time Micro Mark's brooch gets bigger, his penis gets smaller. And it wouldn't let me send it. So.
Yeah. Is there such thing as an inverted phallus? Can you have an inverted phallus? I feel like Mark Levin might be the one.
I think it's probably like a turtle, little baby balls.
He's actually working. He might be a trans. He might be the first organic trans person. Mark Levin is the first organic trans person. His male member has inverted into a concave.
Yeah, it's like it's going backwards now.
Yeah.
It's so ashamed of even him.
There's
a
a
hole.
hole.
Be around him.
There's a hole where his manhood used to be.
That's why he has that voice. You do it really, like when you do the impressions, spot on.
You think you can call into this show and make fun of my male member? Nobody questions the status of my male member. The last time I measured my male member, it was at least 2 inches. At least. And we don't even use the metric system. In the metric system, we're probably dozens of meters here.
Wait, wouldn't that explain the anger issues? I think so, yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to get. Enough
I've
commentary.
Been drinking the Hopium a little bit too. I'm in a good mood.
I can't. Enough commentary on Mark Levin's lack of manhood, please. I can't do it with Micro Mark. I can't do it with Micro Mark.
My own body wants to run away from me when I talk about him. It's gross.
Let's not do it. Let's not do it.
But I've been kind of like you, where I've been I'm like, wow, I just woke up today. Like after you were like, I feel hopeful, and I wake up today and all of this is happening, and I'm like, what the hell happened? How did it flip like this? This is amazing. But I'm also kind of like BMT, where I'm like, I want to embrace what's happening, but I'm kind of hesitant, I don't want to be too happy because I don't know how this happened. And then now you got to kind of have your head on a swivel in case there's like a false flag,
Yeah, that's been, I think that's been in the back of our minds, maybe at the front of our minds now. But to kind of get back to your.
A toddler you told no, right? And then they just throw themselves on the floor and start kicking and screaming and embarrass you in the store. But like, that's them, only they blow shit up,
You asked the question. You said, how did we get here, right? And I think that's the question. I think that's the big question. How is this ride so topsy-turvy right now? How are we facing one direction, now we're facing the total different direction? I said this earlier. The only explanation that I can provide is that whatever has happened in this latest series of negotiations, and maybe even since he's landed in Geneva, he has been able to talk to Iranian leaders, other leaders in the Middle East. He's been able to talk to other world leaders at the G7 for the first time without Netanyahu or one of his representatives in Trump's ear. It's the first time where Trump has been able to have a conversation with people without Israel buzzing around in his ear. That's my answer. If there is an answer, that's my answer as to the how did we end up here. That's the only answer I can provide, unless you believe in QAnon is the only other answer I think anybody could land on.
That or maybe he finally embraced Catholicism and they exorcised the demons out of his body. I don't.
Well, I've seen no evidence. I've seen no evidence of that.
But it's like it just flipped like all of it. But yeah, you're right. He's probably in an environment where he feels like free and not kind of It pisses me off because why are we in other countries? Like, what democracy are we cramming down anyone's throat? And I'm a daughter of a father that served. My grandfather also served. My dad came back a completely different person from being in Iraq, which never had to happen.
Yeah.
And it pisses me off. Why are we meddling in anybody's culture, in anybody's country? That's their decision. That's their problem. Like, why? I don't understand. Why?
Well, we're beginning to understand, though, right? I mean, that's the whole issue, is we're finally understanding the why, and the people that are responsible for it, they don't like that.
It feels like we've been lied to, just like about everything, that we've been told how awful and horrible and disgusting and evil Muslims are, and they just want to kill you, and they demonize everybody. We don't even understand their countries and their cultures. It's kind of like a big awakening where everything's kind of flipped on its head, like a upside down pineapple cake.
And I kind of, and I think I forgot to express this earlier when I was talking about what Dana Loesch was saying. Here's what they're missing. You cannot, you guys have all lost the moral high ground, even on the Muslims' bad issue. I mean, let's just call it what it is. You don't have the high ground anymore. Everything that Israel has done and the Americans that have supported it, you guys have lost the high ground. You're down there in the dirt with the Muslims you put there. They can't virtue signal about Muslim rape gangs while covering up for Epstein. It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all. But it's all been this like mirage, this deflection, that we're looking over in one area and we haven't been paying attention to the complete infiltration by the people that have been telling us these other people are bad.
No, it's been a crazy thing to witness, and the thing that the legacy media and the older generation doesn't understand is they've already lost. They're still of this belief that they control the narrative and the mindset. They are gone. They have zero control over it, and now maybe they've even lost control over foreign policy, and that's it. They have nothing left. They have nothing left. They've lost the narrative. They've lost the people. Now they've lost control over foreign policy. And if they don't have any weapons, I don't know what else they have now. They've lost everything.
I think because the flow of information, it's so tangible now, it's so accessible, it's so, and it comes so quickly, right? It's really hard to kind of get control of it. And they're trying as hard as they can. But especially with my kids and stuff, the stuff that they know and the stuff that my son realized this crap years ago. And I was like, oh, you're nuts. He was right. And it's because of the information that comes at them and that they're able to access and read and learn, and they can talk to people in other countries and find out the truth, right? And that's what they're trying to kind of put a kibosh on.
That's what's happening, Mego. All right, Angel Mego, thank you for the call. Thank you for checking in. Angel Mego today. She had to call in to express her super chats because apparently they're not letting them through. Fellow Texan. All right. Next caller. What's your name? Where you from?
Oh, and Don from Orange County, man.
All right, Don, go ahead.
You caught me on a bad day, dude. I'm glad I'm getting this phone call. I'm getting ready to go on a 3-week ride on my Harley, but I'm going to vent here, man. And I hope everyone listens to me on this. Okay, I'm surrounded by fucking idiots in this country. Mr. Trump, I'm talking directly to you. You don't get to fucking do the shit you've been doing, and you don't get to sell the whole country out to a foreign nation and do their bidding and kill and genocide a whole fucking people so you can put up your bullshit in Gaza Strip. And you don't just upheaval these. You don't just make them homeless. You killed them. And then you and your daughter wants to buy a fucking island. You don't get to enrich yourself. You don't get to you don't get to go turn around and go back on everything you ran on from day one, and then gaslight the whole fucking nation. And then you go and raise everything. It's so expensive to fucking live. This country is fucked. You don't get to do the shit you do. I saw you on the UFC, Mr. Trump. You're fucking dying, dude. I'm looking right at you. You're dying. And guess what? Your judgment's coming soon, man. It's on your face. Your face looks swollen. You're dying, pal. You ain't going to heaven. What you did was fucked up. And you sold the whole country out, and everyone's mental masturbating over what the fuck he's going to do his next move. I'm so pissed off because haven't we fucking learned? Aren't we tired of being gaslit? Aren't we tired of being bullshitted and then turn around and then he'll do something that will make some sort of sense? And everybody's, oh shit, okay, now he's going to do it. You know what? He's the fucking snake. He's the snake he told everybody that Biden would be and all these politicians would be. He is the snake. You don't get to do the shit you do, and then if it doesn't work out for you, you turn around, you say something like this to gain your support. I see you. I see what you do. I see what you did to this country. My son is inheriting all your fucking bullshit, and it's pissed me off I don't give a shit anymore about, I don't want to fucking vote. I don't want to validate our system, our government because of your bullshit. You were it. You were the last of the Mohicans. You had one fucking job, one chance to do what the hell you were going to do, and you didn't do it. You did the complete opposite. You screwed everybody, and now look, you're going to hand over billions to Iran. You all made all your money on the war, on the military-industrial complex. You bought all these missiles, you made all your money, and now it didn't work out, so you want to turn around because everyone's starting to hate your ass, and now you want to say you're sorry? Dude, you fucking killed a bunch of people. You're a war criminal. Arrest your ass, and you and your whole damn family, and especially that fucking degenerate Jared Kushner. I'm done with these fucking people, man. They're demonic, and they need to be dealt with, and this country will never fucking ever come back without force because they don't understand words. They don't want to hear. They don't respect our rights, our First Amendment, our freedom of speech, our Fourth, and all that. They don't respect none of that shit. They trivialize everything, and they do what they do without consequence. I'm sick of this shit. Where are all the arrests? Where are the arrests?
Wow. That is our crash out energy crash out of the day. I feel we have to. I mean, there's no avoiding it now. That's your crash out of the day right there. Brought to you by crashout.energy. Don. Well, Don, I would say your passion is being supported by the audience today. They very much admire your passion on the phone lines today. I hope you enjoy your 3-week long Harley adventure. That sounds like great fun across America, and a lot of people resonate with you. All I will ask is this. Let's try to keep it closer to being family friendly. That's all. I know I'm not the best example at times. I know I have my slip-ups. We love having you call in. We love your rants, but guys, let's try to keep it family friendly. I know even I fail, but let's just try. All right? Just a simple request. That's all. But wow, that call was well received from the audience. I'll tell you that. Okay. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hey, how you doing, Andre? This is my name is Joseph from Southwest Oklahoma.
All right, Joseph, go ahead.
All right. So first of all, this whole Iran deal, right? I'm happy. I hope it's over. I doubt it's over, right? But my main thing, the last caller fired me up. Like, these people, they don't fucking care. Like Trump and his family, his cronies, like they triple their net worth. They think that they can live in this country after all this shit is over and just live their lavish lives while we sit here and just pay for everything else. They got another fucking thing coming on. I got a feeling. I hope I'm wrong. I know Israel's going to sabotage this fucking deal. I know the whole thing's going to fall through. This back and forth thing is really fucking pissing me off. And I voted Trump. I voted Trump 3 times on, and I burned so many fucking bridges. Good friends, not my fault, their fault, but still, I burned a lot of bridges riding for this motherfucker. And this betrayal, I'm just getting over it. Like, I've been depressed for the last fucking year, and it's hard. And that's all I got, man. What are your thoughts? Sorry.
Wow. Well, thank you for honoring the request of keeping it family friendly. Not. I'm glad that you called in. I'm glad that Don called in. I'm glad we're hearing this expressed, and the audience is probably more supportive of your opinion at this point than mine, if you want to characterize it as such. But here's why I'm glad you're calling in. and I've tried to explain this, not to my audience. My audience obviously understands. When I'm getting into these debates with the neocon right or even the Trump cult to an extent, this is what they're missing. This is what I've been trying to deliver to them. This is what they're missing. They have no idea the absolute vitriol that Americans have right now towards their government. How many rants have I gone on during this transmission about that very thing? And how Trump is now viewed as a part of it. And now that frustration and vitriol is directed at him. And it's always a what have you done for me lately type of an atmosphere. And that's why he's the number one recipient of such vitriol now instead of Biden. So I try to express this and they don't get it. I'm telling you, this is how people feel. And that's why I'm convinced that a lot of these people in the political media have zero social life. I mean, none. If you don't understand, folks, I'm telling you, the last two callers that you've heard here, I've had people say this to me in person. It's even worse. We're not talking about I'm opening up a phone line on a political talk show. I'm talking about like I'm sitting at the gym in the middle of lifting a weight and somebody comes up and grabs my shoulder and rants like that. That's what I'm talking about. That's how bad it is. I'm talking about I'm playing basketball and I'm waiting for the next game. Somebody's ranting about Trump. Somebody from the other side of the court comes up to me and says, hey, you guys are talking about politics. What do you know? Who are you? And then they say the same stuff. So I'm saying, it's like, this is not my opinion. I can't express it enough. So much of what I do here is it's like it's consumed as opinion. This is political play-by-play. I'm telling you what is going on. And the last two callers, I've been positive on Trump this week. I'm hoping this is a new directional thing. And you hear the frustration. It's permanent. It's not going anywhere. This is what MAGA doesn't understand. And quite frankly, maybe even this is what Trump didn't understand. Maybe he does now, maybe he doesn't. This has been the blind spot. This has been their big swing and miss that they don't understand. Because I'm convinced they either have zero social life, I mean none, or they just assume that whenever they hear something like that, it's not real or it's a minority opinion or something. No. Oh, it's very real. It's very real. And it's I hear it all the time. And now you're hearing it on the phone lines today. All right. Let's take one more call before we go to our super chats. A little bonus time today. Last caller of the show. What's your name? Where you're from?
My name is Pat. I'm from New York. Hey, I can't believe I even got through. I'm pretty so. Anyways, so this is the kind of thing that's been bothering me for quite a while. I mean, this is going back all the way to 2016, 2015, the whole thing. Like, okay, Trump, I didn't know how to take him at first. Then all of a sudden he started, everybody got on board the thing. It was really good. But then I keep coming back to like the Bev Harris thing with the black box voting, all of the other. So I'm looking at this thing going, how could it be that even if, like, how does he get in that position when you, Alex, have been talking forever about these rigged elections and the electronic voting and all of these things? Like, you don't get in these positions. What happened with this? Like, we're all into this Trump thing with Israel right now. We're all into this, what he's doing today. We went through the 2016 to 2020. All of us are like, we're all in the same boat. I mean, I listen to you. It's like I'm listening to myself when I hear you talk. But what is this? Are we getting pulled into this thing, not forgetting where our roots were, forgetting what we've learned prior to Trump, that this whole game is it's not our game? I don't know. What do you think about it? It's been bothering me for a long time.
No. I get what you're saying. And maybe you're just struggling to express it in a way that you feel is consumable, understandable. So it sounds like my interpretation is, hey, if we believe everything is rigged, then how can we not think everything with Trump is rigged too? And that is certainly fair analysis. That is certainly, fair, consistent logic to have. I guess the problem that people have with that is if you assume everything is rigged, then you kind of just, you fall into a place of complacency and give up. And so I don't know if you ever want to go into that mindset for that reason, even if it is true, just because you don't want to go into that mindset because of the natural psychology that takes over when you do. But that's why I was saying, you know, when it comes to the responses are real. And that's why I feel like there might be something real happening with this. Now, as far as the elections and everything, look, that's really complex. Let's not even go there today. Maybe you think they're all rigged. I'm not going to tell you they're not. But I do think that there's reason to believe that there's a chance that there's realness there. I mean, why would they be spending hundreds of billions of dollars on elections if they could just rig a machine? There's something there. But as far as the, how do you trust anything? That's why I'm telling you, I'm just doing political play-by-play. You can trust the things that are happening are natural or not. We'll add a little context to these things. But I get what you're saying. It's like, how do we go from everything is rigged to, oh, now Trump is in and it's not? And we kind of touch on that attitude a little bit as far as like, hey, where are the deep state arrests? It's like, hey, the deep state just didn't disappear just because Trump won. It's like we still got business to take care of here. So we kind of talk about that a little. But I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it that everything's rigged because then you give up hope. It's natural. That's what happens in psychology. You can't, it's just natural. So we just don't do that for our own health's sake. But I also think there's proof to believe that it isn't all rigged. There's proof to believe that real stuff, organic stuff does happen. And this response here to this deal is real and is organic. It is. All right, let's do one more since that one was kind of on topic, but it was a different way. Let's see, one more caller. We'll see if we can finish it on topic today. Last caller, what's your name, where you're from?
It's Keaton from Arizona.
All right, go ahead.
Owen, I completely agree with you. I do believe this breakup with Bibi and Trump is real. What my gut tells me is that Trump says, okay, Miriam Adelson, you gave me $250 million. That bought you a year and a half of the presidency, not 4, and it didn't buy you $1 billion a day in this war. And signing on to the Gaza genocide and our blown up bases. And I feel like he got around those other world leaders as well, and they may have talked a little sense into him. But I do believe that this split is real.
Yeah. Well, the response to it indicates that there is a legitimate panic. So we'll see. I mean, look, we're all kind of sitting here waiting to see what happens next. But man, I mean, talk about this is like an interception and we're going the other way. It was like the neocons and the foreign lobbyists and the neocons, they were in the red zone and they were about to score their touchdown. And it's like, we just intercepted the ball. And now we're figuring out, all right, we picked off the ball. Are we going the different direction now? Are we going the other way now? Are we going to the other end zone now? What's going to happen? We picked off the ball. Are we going the other way? Are we going to fumble? Are we going to take a knee? Are we going to get tackled? Are we going to restart? Is there a flag on the play? But it looks like we just intercepted the ball. It's like, oh, whoa, we just picked off the ball at the goal line. Now what? It's kind of how it feels. All right. We need to do more calls. Get with the news. You know how we get with the news here. But let's do this now. Let's get to our super chats as we get into a bit of a bonus time here today. And starting us off, Dust Vault. DMT's off to see the wizard. DMT's off to see the wizard. I don't know. Dork World Order. Harrison Smith. Did he say that today? OE sees it all right. Am I OE? Some people call me OE. Dust Vault loading it up on the front end. I think the 250,000 is real, but they waited for a break glass in case of emergency to use it. The wars of the future are being planned here in Israel. Lindsey Graham. Oh, we remember that. And you know what's crazy? Lindsey Graham is on Trump's side with all of this. Who saw that one coming? That's interesting. Brother Fly lineage. He better protect his neck. Right. Aside from the jokes, I think it's I think we need to hope Trump. Let's hope Trump security is real tight. Owen Jones Schroyer. Trump also said he isn't signing FISA without his voter ID law too. Is he really coming around? So I said I didn't get in any of the news. I didn't get into the Pulte and the Southern District of New York guy that Trump's trying to put in the DI. There was a bunch of news. We just focused on this today. But yeah, let's see. It's going to be too late for the midterms, obviously, but I don't know if that would save it anyway. Shalom. I can't say that, but yeah, shalom. Anna X, the Trump we fell in love with will never be again. Well, that's what some of the callers were expressing. Disbelief. He has destroyed it. The trust is gone. A lot of that today. It's just ironic coming from the other side of the issue now. That's what's so crazy about that. It's the other side that's saying they don't trust him and he's destroyed his legacy. We're always ahead of the curve, It's getting ridiculous, actually. Will the left TDS force him to cozy back up to Israel? No. And that's what's even so wild about this. Trump could win over so much of the left if he took a hardline stance on Israel and did a massive reverse course on foreign policy. Now we tell the neocons to just trust the plan. Ha, Billy. Yes. The panicans and the neocons. Hey, trust the plan, guys. Trust Trump. Come on. That's what you told us to do. That's funny. Guess that only goes one way, huh? Sorry. Pinned post on Hipster Trey. Fishback likes. Man, you ought to go work for the Fishback campaign, bro. Flip-flops or slop-flops? Flip-flops. OS wifey had a dream involving me in a chicken suit. It's getting weird. What is going on out there in Florida today, guys? Byron Donalds went to the Quality Leering Center. Owen, thoughts on Chase Hughes? I don't want to, not off the top of my head. Vegas was better when the mob ran it, not the Adelsons. Well, Vegas sucks now. Yeah, Vegas is, I was never a big Vegas guy. But I went to Vegas a couple times recently. It was not. You go and you do it. It's like, okay, I did it. I saw it. But it's not something I feel like I need to ever do again. I'd like to go see a show at the Sphere maybe. But as far as going to Vegas, what a mess. The traffic, the wait times, the price. Nah. Yeah. Maybe the Adelsons ruined Vegas too. I don't know. But now they got their big casino business in China, in Macau, the Macau Islands. So that's where Marian Adelson her cash is coming in from the gambling situation. Who is the GOAT in football, soccer? I don't know how Messi with the opening hat trick in his, fifth World Cup appearance at 38 years old. I don't know how that doesn't really kind of cement him, honestly. As far as a soccer player is concerned, I don't know how that doesn't cement him now. I guess he needs one more goal to become the #1 World Cup scorer of all time. So I think if he accomplishes that, if he can get another goal this World Cup, I don't know who you say is the GOAT. Obviously people are always going to talk about Pele, but I feel like he's definitely surpassed Maradona. I think that his international accomplishments put him above Cristiano Ronaldo. And now with an opening game hat trick at 38, come on. A natural hat trick. This separation is so the upcoming FF hits harder. Seems like the odds are increasing. Alex McCarthy saw the 10-minute Messi blow-up doll at Lowe's. The 10-foot Messi blow-up doll. I saw those. I didn't see it personally, but they're going viral on social media. False flag, fertile ground when Israel loses public support. How unified are CIA and Israeli intel nowadays? Well, I'd say pretty close, but you got to wonder now if Israel doesn't trust anybody in the Trump administration and if they don't just go completely rogue based off of some of the rhetoric that we're seeing. But everybody agrees false flag is like the odds of that keep going up with the anger coming out of Israel. Inject the kvetching and crashing out into my veins. It's been glorious. There's really no denying it. It's been glorious. Owen, you check out the Bond Arms 2-shot Derringer, my daily open carry, 45 LC. Can you even talk about this? Made in Texas. This could be like this. Like they do weird stuff when you start talking about this stuff, Billy. They do weird stuff with your channel. So I don't know if we want to get into that. Honestly, people tend to forget Iran is also our enemy. Logan Misiak, or maybe that's just been what we've been told. Maybe it's really Israel's enemy. I don't know. It's all very complicated. Maybe we'll have a better idea what the future is going to look like in the Middle East for us on Friday. DH Gamers, I shouldn't have to thank you for standing up for America as an American. It should be a given. Still, thank you for calling out the foreign infiltrators. Also, last time I saw Lindsey Graham, he was looking a bit depressed. When did you see, was Lindsey, did he do a Fox News tour about this? Because he's been supportive of this deal. Who saw that one coming? Lindsey, Ladybug Lindsey. He's been very supportive of Trump with this deal. So it looks like maybe his normal desire for bloodshed has been satiated. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the super chat. And it's just natural. It's not even like you say it should be a given. It is a given to me. I can't even, there's nothing else. It's just a natural inclination for me to respond to propaganda and foreign influence. What do you think of the Save Our Bacon Act? Not much. DMT is the only guest the chat loves. DMT was very popular. DMT was very popular today. How you like them apples? DMT? DMT is going to love this. Oh, he's feeling it now. People who claim nuclear weapons / energy doesn't exist are akin to flat earthers. Careful, Billy. Careful. Watch it now. Watch with the conflations here. The Farm Girl. Aren't our militaries combined with Israel now? They haven't signed that. That is not officially signed yet, but they are trying to do that. Bibi went behind Trump's back to get that deal into Congress, and the Pentagon sent a warning flare to the country / president. I think that was a wake-up call. Well, it just shows that they're all lying. They don't want to sever ties with America. They lie about that. They want to make these ties permanent while they tell you they don't want the ties. See, and that's what I'm saying. You know, I don't even want to make any assumptions about Iran. I'm not trying to say Iran is good, bad. It's just we've reached this point where we realize we have been lied to about virtually everything in the Middle East, and specifically when it comes to the voices representing Israel. So it's like you get to this point where you know this person lies to me 24/7. This person deceives me and manipulates me 24/7 for the benefit of this over here. You kind of have to start to assume that that's what they're doing. And it's like we've kind of reached that stage. X Savage, big super chat. Thank you. Due to popular demand, I must request you upload your AI intro to your show as a standalone video. Please, it's amazing. On an unrelated note, if someone wanted to contact you for a story, what is the best way? I can't find an email, no XDMs. Help a MIGA out. Support@win.media. Support@win.media. As far as the AI intro, I thought about uploading that. But you know what? I would prefer that you have to come and watch the show to see the intro. So I think I'm going to starve you. I'm going to starve you. I'm going to keep you desperate. And if you want to hear the intro, you got to watch the show. Big Don, Trump, you don't get to do all of that. And when it looks like it won't work out, you do another 180 and expect support again. You are the snake. Well, that's Don. He got the call in earlier. So he's expressing it a little bit here in the super chat too. Brace for heavy E-Files impact from this deal. I wonder if they've exhausted that. How much more can they give against Trump on the Epstein files? But that's a good point. Glad you brought it up. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made the broadcast. Are we going to see the new Epstein file dropped? Yeah, that, or maybe they decide they're going right to false flag now. Maybe they'll do one more Epstein tug. Maybe they'll do one more Epstein influence campaign. Favorite cut of beef? I'm a flank guy, versatile. Filet mignon for me. If I'm going to do a steak, that's my go-to. I love the bone-in. If you can get a bone-in filet, there's a couple restaurants that have a fantastic bone-in filet here in Austin. I mean, ugh. And then, the Japanese A5 Wagyu, if you can get the real stuff. So many people try to, dummy it. No, you're not fooling anybody here. But that's obviously really expensive. I like the filet. That's definitely my go-to. I would say there's really not even a close second. It's pretty much filet every time. This is the woke rights. Our patience with the unvaccinated is wearing thin moment. Yeah. I don't know if that's the best compare and contrast, but yeah, it's they're just demanding you comply. They're just demanding your complacency with their fake authority. And we're just saying, no, thank you. Brandon, do you think Andrew Wilson would destroy Ben Shapiro in a debate? How do you think that plays out? That's interesting. What is the nature of the debate? I don't think Ben Shapiro can win a debate. I think Ben Shapiro is so unpopular that he really can't even win a debate. And the fact that he doesn't even do debates anymore is kind of telling. So that gives Andrew the edge. So I would say Andrew is definitely the favorite. I think Andrew is the favorite. And you have to understand, and this was the same thing, and Andrew kind of recognized this, by the way. When you're put in that position, see, Ben Shapiro is going to be put in a position of failure right out of the gates because he's going to have to be forced to defend foreign countries and foreign interests the whole time. And Andrew won't have to do that. Who knows? Even on the Epstein thing, Shapiro may be forced to defend. So these things kind of change depending on the nature of the conversation and the debaters. I would say Andrew Wilson enters as the favorite, and I think he comes out on top. I think Shapiro is so unpopular, I don't think he can even win a debate. Ken Rose, thank you. And whenever you're defending foreign interests, can you win anyway? Robert, Israel's two major exports, blackmail and bribery. Oh, you mean they don't give us oil and energy and resources? Just war and taking our money? They want to talk about how the Rothschilds covered it up. You mean Rothschilds real? Rothschilds real? Barefoot Gourmet, I love your passion. Your podcast is my new daily obsession. Aside from the opening song, the rest of the music is a little strange. I don't get it. Please explain. Oh, we got a new audience member today, Barefoot Gourmet. That looks good. What is that in your picture there? Looks like some raspberries there. What is that, a French? Looks like a French thing going on here. All right, Barefoot Gourmet, welcome to the show. Glad to have you along. Glad you enjoy the daily transmission. So here's the deal with the music. Since I guess nobody explained it to her here, maybe I'll just explain it briefly. I would love to play music on the show. The problem is YouTube doesn't allow it. And so when we were playing music on the show, we kept getting hit on YouTube for, different issues. And so we just stopped. So I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with the dings every day and the complaints and the violations and everything. So we just abandoned playing music. We may try to return it. There's things that you can do to play it. It's all, at the end of the day, it's just all money. It's just an extra expense. And I've got other priorities. We need to get to a new studio. That's kind of priority number one. So I'm kind of just biding my time until we can move studios. So it's always just a money issue. I'm trying to be as financially prudent and responsible as possible with this broadcast. And I'm looking long-term. The decisions I make about this broadcast are all long-term. So it's all about priorities. We could pay and find ways to play music on the show. It's rather expensive. And right now the priority is to get into a new studio. So I'm just waiting until we have the ability to get to a new studio, and then we'll kind of look at some other things. Now the music itself, the music that we play here is all classic video game music. And then so we kind of play a game in the audience, people trying to figure out what music that we're playing. We've added a couple new ones. Most people have figured out where the music is coming from. Some of it's very deep cuts. Some of it everybody's heard of before, like, a GoldenEye song. And then there's some other deep cuts that people are trying to figure out where did it come from. So the music is just, the reason we use it is because we're allowed to use it. It doesn't hurt the channel. It doesn't get strikes and dings on the broadcast. And it's a little nostalgic, a little bit of a nostalgia there too. I think you'll find that you'll get used to it. And at the end of the day, the question is, would you rather listen to commercials or would you rather just listen to music? So I could sit here and play a bunch of commercials for 5 minutes, or you can just have a little break music, like a little intermission music. So, and I don't even know if I want to address it, but for a 3-hour plus show every day, folks, we do like maybe at most 10 minutes of ads a show, maybe. And then we might have a sponsored show like today. Nobody else does more than 3 hours a day and less than 10 minutes in ads. Nobody. So I'm choosing to play that music instead of play ads. So I assume that you guys would prefer that. But glad to have you here. Welcome to the show. Hope you stick around and have fun in the chat too. I have been noticing that the more pissed off Levin and Shapiro are, the more I smile. Palmetto Hawk. Gee, why would that be? Do you like Michael Jackson? Absolutely. Michael Jackson is probably the greatest live performer in the history of music. I went through a period of time where I was obsessed with the entire Michael Jackson discography. I mean, every day for months, I just listened to his whole entire works. So yes, to put it simply, Michael Jackson is fantastic. Tay Fishback channeled his inner AJ with the bullhorn. Something like that. Hegzeth seems like someone who likes to show off his shiny new toys and enjoys the war so he can show them off. He doesn't care about the lives he's putting in danger. I'm guessing that's in response to the Hegzeth commentary from earlier. Well, he definitely has a flair for the dramatic with the whole weightlifting thing and everything. But I still think he seems like a yes man more than anything. American Tiger. Hey, Owen, is your wife's sister single? I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm not actually married. Wifey in the chat. I don't know. She might tell you otherwise. I don't know if she has a sister or not. If that's who you're talking about, you'd have to ask her. Coach Lacey, what happened to that old guy that came on InfoWars that said there was a RICO op in 2021? P.S. My crash out got sent back to you. Not sure who to contact. Yeah, hey guys, if you ever have any issues, please, if you ever have any issues with any of the products at owenschroyer.store, whether it's Crash Out Energy or our shirts, our t-shirts, our shorts, anything else, you can reach out here as Coach Lacey has done, or support@win.media. Send an email to support@win.media. I don't know. We haven't had any issues with deliveries on Crash Out, so I haven't heard about that. If you send to that email, we can see about the issue. I haven't heard any things. I mean, I outsource this. Obviously, I'm not doing fulfillment here in my garage. Wink, wink. We have somebody else that does fulfillment, but we haven't had any issues with that. So we'll look into that. Lacey, if you send an email, maybe we can look into that. Maybe DMT will see this and follow up with you. Wouldn't surprise me. I think you're asking about Steve Pachinik, and I don't know. I did that interview with Steve, and it got massively viral. And he made those claims about how they had the watermark ballots and they were going to catch the Democrats stealing it. And then I don't know. I didn't hear from Steve. I haven't heard from Steve in years. He kind of just disappeared after that. He was kind of a regular on InfoWars for a while. I don't think he's been back since then. So I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Keep it family friendly, but I covered the Epstein files. Look at this attitude. Tried to follow producer DMT and he's got me blocked. How is that possible when I agree with 100% of what he said today? Wow, DMT, the gauntlet has been thrown down. Dare I say? I won't say it. He knows what I'm going to call him. I won't say it. He'll unblock you. Wolf Krieger, DMT will unblock you after this. If we knew Trump was going to act like a Democrat, we just wouldn't have voted. I don't know if you can say he's acting like a Democrat. Swamp Creature, Neocon, Democrat? I don't know. I guess if you're comparing, what is that, an Obama deal thing? Or how are we measuring that? Ecclesiastes 7:9. Be not quick to anger, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools. Resteth in the bosom of fools. Yes. And not only that, maybe do you think that's a reference to cortisol? You know, you get angry, you get stressed, the cortisol builds up, then you get a fat ass. You get this big, fat, disgusting ass you're walking around in. There I am. Keep it family friendly. All right, you got me on that one, wifey. You got me on that one. No cortisol strikes. Oh, my gosh. The bikini truth. If peace is real, brace for a false flag. You hate to. Yeah, I know. Everybody's thinking it. Iran equals end UK Lloyd's institution to Trump crypto company payments. Well, Iran is kind of the last stranglehold stand against the Israel central bank agenda in the Middle East. So maybe. I didn't dream about Tay-Tay. No. You know, he's making it up. He's on one today. I don't know what Tay-Tay is like. I think he got a little fishback. He got a little fishback slipped into his Cosby. I will never forgive Trump for throwing Massey and MTG overboard. Sam White. Well, that's fair. Calls again tomorrow or nah? Yeah, I think so. I could see. Well, wait. Tomorrow's Thursday. Maybe not till Friday. If you're trying to get in. Yeah, I would say maybe not till Friday. But we'll see, because as I said, Friday's kind of in the balance. I got family coming in town for Father's Day. But I also want to be here so badly every day. I don't want to take any days off. It's so necessary. And I was telling DMT, I'm so committed. I'm really starting to focus on finding a new studio, guys. The window of opportunity, I think, is opening up. At the end of the day, it's just about money. And if I don't do a show, I lose money. So I kind of need to be on air every day so that I can get closer to getting into a new studio. So I'm going to try to be here Friday, but I can't, family in town for Father's Day, big weekend plans. Who knows? I might just take one off. But at Friday, I would say we'll do calls. Employee Strong for Life. Some Mossad dude came out and said Epstein release is coming. Apparently a big one. Yeah, well, I've said it before. I've said it. I would rather forgive Trump than have to sit here and watch him sell out the country for 4 years. Whatever they try to do, I would rather get into a position of forgiveness than a position of our country getting screwed. So yeah, false flag, new Epstein file. Which one you guys got? Which one you think happens? Both? My son demands I play Clown World before bedtime. Put it on repeat. Did they still burn CDs? Can you still record on a cassette? Who's old enough to remember recording on a cassette? I used to do that when I was like 5 years old. I got a recording cassette player and a microphone. Thank you, Mom. My mom, I'm 5 years old. My mom gets me a recording cassette player. I think it had a radio built in and had a microphone. And now here I am. Thank you, Mom. But I remember I used to like once a week, I would record like an hour of radio music. I would record it. And if I liked it, I would keep it and I would play it back over and over for a couple of weeks until I got sick of it and wanted new music. How many are old enough to remember recording on a cassette tape? Logan Miziak, you and Alex should reconnect and collab. Boy, oh boy. You guys want to tell him? Fishback home studio over Owen's garage studio. Yeah, Tay-Tay's on one. Now I can tell. Are you hungry? Are you fasting? Is that what this is? I told you to fast. So if this is just a fast crash out, then it's okay. We'll forgive. When is the grape flavor crash out coming? Also, new fits in the store. Okay, here we go. DMT and I had this conversation earlier today, too. We are about to get some test merchandise I told you I want to do more disobey. I want to do more disobey merchandise, more disobey apparel. So we got a couple of disobey concept designs that we're going to be putting, hopefully putting out soon. And I'm in the process right now. DMT and I are actually debating. We're kind of on opposite sides of this. Maybe we can do both. But again, I have to prioritize getting a new studio. We're debating either doing a second Crash Out formula flavor or doing the Chimp Out formula. I want to do the Chimp Out. DMT wants to do the second Crash Out flavor. He's all in. We should do the second flavor. I'm all in on doing the Chimp Out. So we're kind of debating what we want to do right now. We're just going through the logistics of it all. The reason I want to do Chimp Out first now is because I'm getting a lot of feedback on the Crash Out energy, and it's doing exactly, the formula is doing exactly what I intended it to do, which is just good, steady energy, but it's more of a mental thing. It's like Crash Out is for mental energy. And if you think about it, when you're crashing out, that's like you're having a mental break, right? You're screaming, you're shouting, you're going crazy. That's a mental thing. So Crash Out is really about mental energy, mental focus. And the reviews that's what they're saying. Chimp Out is a physical thing. So if you're chimping out, you're physically doing something. You're punching, you're shoving, you're fighting, you're breaking things. And so it makes more sense that Chimp Out would be the real, I would say we might even do 300 milligrams in caffeine for Chimp Out and even 200 raw caffeine so that it hits you immediately like the other energy drinks. Crash Out only has about 100 or so, a little over 100 milligrams of raw caffeine. And then the other 100 milligrams come from natural sources. So that's why it's more of a slow delivery mechanism as opposed to just the raw caffeine, just boom, right in. So I think I want to do Chimp Out because we've got the mental energy. We got the mental energy focus drink, total success. And then we can do the traditional energy drink, which is just energy. Just boom, you get it, immediate jolt. And someone's going to do it. I mean, someone is going to do the Chimp Out brand. Why not us? Why not we get ahead of the Chimp Out brand and we own it and we do that? So we'll see. We're working on all of it now. But yeah, we are working on those things. Lil Gothics, you destroyed those boomers in the walkaway debate. Did you see the MAGA versus America First one yet? Because that one is even that one's even bigger. Thank you for responding. I sent the email. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you for the big super chat today. I have a Walkman recorder and a mini disc recorder. Hold on. What were you guys remember Zunes? No. What was the thing? I think I collected all of these. They sold it mini clip. Was it called a mini clip? McDonald's had this special. I want to say early 2000s. And they sold, this was right when MP3 players were hitting the market. And they sold it was literally this big. And then they sold the little, it was called, I think it was called mini clips. So they sold you this little box and then they had these tiny little cassette type of things and you put it into the box and then you could play it. But it was only a minute of the song. They had Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. Remember mini clips? The Walkman. Man, we're old. We are old. Alice in Chains or Soundgarden? I got to go with Soundgarden. I'm not the biggest fan of either band, but I'd go Soundgarden. Do more polls, DMT, please. It's a DMT request. He's got a lot of work today, huh? Kobe Bryant's helicopter. If you release an energy drink called Chimp Out, I will buy multiple cases. There it is. There it is. And I already have the envision. The logo's already in my head. Purple, kind of a metallic purple, neon lime green monkey. Chimp Out. And actually, you guys, well, I'm not going to say it. Someday I'll tell some of these stories, but we were discussing the potentials of Chimp Out, and DMT brought up a potential problem. He brought up a potential issue we might have if we try to do it. And I pointed out to him, I said, well, if that does happen, it would actually be a good thing. I don't want to say it right now because it's I almost want it to happen. And if I say it, it won't happen. It's one of those cosmic jinx things. But there you go. The people want Chimp out, DMT. I think I win. I think Chimp out wins, DMT. I don't know what to tell you. I need to get my Chimp out energy on. Make it happen. Here we go. False flag, definitely. Maybe around 4th of July. Oh, don't say it. Don't say it. Maybe we were thinking it, but we didn't want to say it. But you know what? I want to be positive on this. I want to think that the 4th of July is going to be great. I want to think the 4th of July is going to represent American independence 2.0. We're going to stick on the high note today. DMT responding. That's not how it's going to go, DMT. It's not how it's going to go. White peach flavored Chimp out. From Dre Bay. They're loving Chimp out. They're loving it. They were hit clips, not mini clips. Good times. Molly Pearson hit clips. That's what it was. You probably had some too. I think it even came with like earbuds. Like before earbuds were even earbuds, I think it came with earbuds. I'm about a year younger than you. I used to record the radio cassettes too. Man, I loved it. I don't know why. I just loved that as a kid, Pine Nuts. Micro Mark energy drink with testosterone. You're welcome. Yeah, it's funny, but nobody wants to drink Micro Mark. Now, Micro Mark might need some testosterone, but that's a separate story. Get that Harambe energy in you today. Nice. Relative works on a military base, and the amount of interns from other countries is concerning. Who is Amaze? Okay, that's not one I've heard before. Employee strong for life. I can be your product spokesperson. You do enjoy Crash Out. I believe you've commented on Crash Out before. So, you know what? We appreciate that. In a way, you already have just by being here today. Crashout.energy. Oh, and I had your debate with Andrew Wilson, a draw. Andrew was able to dictate the frame and pace of the debate, but you had the better facts. It was like watching Sugar Ray versus Marvin Hagler. It was a good debate. I'd say that was probably, of all the debates I've been in, that was the one where I'd say it wasn't a resounding victory. I think every other debate I've been in, I've trounced people. I'm like historically known for it. I mean, I used to go out to the mobs and go like 1,000-0. Okay, but maybe not the 4th, but definitely this year. Let's hope not, though. Huh? Let's hope not. No, I think, you know what? I'll just say it. I think, so here's the concern. DMT thinks if we did a product called Chimp Out, that they would ban it. I'm just going to go ahead and just do it. Because I want to do it. I want to do it. And I don't want it to get banned. He thinks if we sell a product called Chimp Out, they're going to ban us. And he thinks that if they do that, then we're screwed. We're going to, it's like, we're going to lose everything just because we wanted to do this one product that really has nothing to do with the show. So that's his concern. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I agree with that. Now, I would say it's a good thing because it's going to get a bunch of press and then it'll sell more than ever because it's a banned thing called Chimp Out. So it's like free marketing. But I also understand it's like, well, if they take away all the different, processors and everything else, it's like, it's just another headache that we don't want to deal with right now. So I get it. It's a debate we're having right now, but the people want Chimp Out. The people want Chimp Out. And I'm a man of the people. So I don't know. The debate is going to be had. And maybe DMT crashes into the broadcast at some point and tries to throw down the gauntlet on this. But that's where we're at with that. That's where we're at. All right, that's good. That's good. That's nearly 4 hours. You guys had enough of me. Go enjoy your night. Go enjoy your night. Get some slop in. Get some hump in. It's hump day. Calm down. That's going to do it for me. We'll take a 20-hour break. 20-hour break today with the long show. 20-hour break today. Same time, same channel tomorrow. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Please remember to follow us on YouTube. Help us build that channel. Means a lot. God bless. Godspeed. I'll see you tomorrow.